Wake up, wake up. It is time for the Way Too Early for a Friday podcast. Let us go. It is not time for you to sit around, not time for you to be groggy. We ain't got time for that. This party has begun. And if you're not ready, you better get ready. We have got a full action-packed roster of items here for you guys today. And so I need you guys right away, right now. First assignment, go ahead, hit that like. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with everybody. In fact, share it with somebody you don't like so they can say, why'd you send this to me? Who is this? Don't you love confusing people? Go ahead and send it to them. In fact, send it to them at midnight so they're off guard. That's the best thing to do, okay? But like, subscribe. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. We are less than 500 away from 30,000. This train is building momentum. You better catch up if you want to get on board. All right. I need you guys who are in the chat. I know some of you guys are already in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's already here. Let us check out what you got going on. Let's see who's already here. My man, Carlos. Good morning from Central Time Zone. Carlos is probably at the park right now walking. And then my guy, Dennis Solis from Home Gym Tech is here. He's on deck. He is a member of this channel. Thank you so much for your support, Dennis, as always. Thank you for being here. We got a full action-packed list of things going on. It is 6:01, so it's time for me to tell you what is on today's show. But first, I want you to tell me what you are working on today. What is in your workout schedule? All right, I need to know. Today, I am deadlifting as usual. I need to know what you are doing to make yourself better. All right, so what's on today's show? Number one, of course, we we're supposed to have the Friday dance party, but Carlos didn't participate, so yeah. But then at 6:07, we got the homie Ashley Hromyak joining the show. And then right after that, we're going to do the news and other things. That's a new segment that everybody seems to be liking. Got a mixture of good news and ridiculous news to get your day started. Then at 7:05, Claire Jones from Garage Gym PT is going to be joining us from the UK. She's going to be talking to us about the topic of working out. So if you have a home gym, but you work from home, what are the challenges there of actually staying in shape? It's not as easy as you would think. Then, of course, we're going to have Recliner of Rage. I got a fresh new fitness-related item to get mad at. And then we're going to also have at 8:05, my guy Greg Santarsiero from G-Code Nutrition is returning. And he's going to be talking about that Tri Chamber, going to be talking about what's going on with G-Code Nutrition. And he is been a real good friend for a long time. And he's always open to talk about anything supplement related, not just about his brand, but just in general. So he's a good dude. If you guys have any supplement, just general supplement questions or questions about G-Code, go ahead and be here for that. 8:05 Eastern time. Then at 9:05, we're going to have Marissa Roy from Permanent Change Coaching. She's going to join. Excuse me. She's going to join, and she's also going to be talking about the topic of having a home gym and working from home and how to make that work, because that's something that's been on my mind lately. Of course, I'm also going to tell you, if hopefully we have time. If we have time, I will tell you another YouTube channel that I think that you guys need to be following. But as I said, the Friday dance party was supposed to happen. Nobody wanted to be part of the dance party. I couldn't get my guy Carlos. Carlos is normally that's my go-to. I'm like, hey, Carlos, let's go. Give me a video, man. Let's go. Tag in on this. Carlos is like, nah, man. Nah, he doesn't actually sound like this, but since I'm the one telling the story, he's going to sound like this during the story. Nah, man, I'm at the movies, man, so I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't. So, freaking the dance party. I mean, come on. I'm just kidding. One monkey don't stop no show. Dance party, let's go.
I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out.
Yo. Special girl, real good girl. Biggest thing in my itty bitty world. Call her up and she made me feel right. Wish the bliss could never take flight. Sitting back with this mic in my hand. Spitting hot shit, trying to see grand. Imprinted on my mind every minute. Make my plans and you always in it, yo. It's such a vibrant thing. Vibrant thing, a vibrant thing. And even though we both fly, give each other space and not the evil eye. Acting like grown-ups, don't even try to hide cause the spot blown up. Girlfriend telling you she wanna see. I say I don't know, but you say gladly. And when we both do it, we go on and on and on and on and on and sweeter than Ben and Jerry. Can I rhyme? Well, you know I get mine. Sitting around in my abstract car. This abstract thing going abstract far, yo. Such a vibrant thing. Vibrant thing, a vibrant thing. Yo, it's such a vibrant thing. Vibrant thing, a vibrant thing. Check it, yo, check it.
We're ready for that. What are you asking? I know you see me, Ashley.
Such a vibrant thing. Vibrant thing, a vibrant thing.
I see your shoulder, Ashley. I saw your shoulders moving.
Check it, yo, it's such a vibrant thing. Vibrant,
I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about. That last move is how I got married. It's out of control. All right. So once again, we have Ashley Hromyak. And so let's go ahead and add her to the stage. Ashley, what's up?
Good morning.
I am as lit as usual.
That your dance party is like the best intro.
Of course, yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna have to verify those dance moves with your wife when I see her next month.
Oh, look, you will not see her, so there's no way that's happening. No, she's actually pretty bummed because we are proud of our daughter. She's going to a cheerleading nationals, cheer nationals, in her age range, and so that's in Florida, and HomeGymCon is in Indiana, so that commute just not gonna work. So my wife actually will not be able to make it to HomeGymCon, and she is already upset because when my daughter got into cheer, we didn't know the HomeGymCon had been moved, so it was moved to a different time. I mean, a different date. And Jake moved it so that it would make it more convenient for people. And then it just kind of coincided with that. So, oh, well. But I promised I would take lots of pictures of myself having fun to show her. Because I'm that love and supportive husband that she needs, you know? All right. So I know you have a full day. You got clients that you have to make sure you take care of. So I want to make sure that I respect your time. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pop this out here. We got some questions. And I didn't send you the questions, did I?
Last night you did.
I did. Okay, cool. I'm about to say it's about to be like a box of chocolates. You have no idea what's about to happen. Okay, never mind. All right, but you ready. You're a ranger. Y'all lead the way. Mostly. All right, anyway. You knew I wasn't gonna let that happen. Slide, right?
Right.
All right. You all lead the way to where the Marines have established a beachhead. How about that? All right, first question. Let's go. First question comes from YouTube from JJ, much more, 9149. I'm not sure if that's on his birth certificate, but it ought to be. It's somewhere. And this question is related to your video review of the RitFit leg press hack squat combo. And JJ asked, what do you recommend? What do you recommend for a home hack squat leg press? Because you were not 100% a fan of that unit for very good reasons, which you guys can find out if you will watch the review, which I'll put the link for that in the description for this video so you can watch it after this show is over. But anyway, Ashley, you weren't a fan of that. So what do you recommend for a leg press hack squat combo for the home?
Well, I have the hoist leg press hack squat combo for my home gym. Other than that, I have not actually used any others, so I can't speak on them. But the hoist one I have, yeah, it's right behind me. It's wonderful. Okay. I there's a lot of things that I do like about this, over the RitFit one. My experience with this one kind of made it, was easier for me to kind of go over the things I didn't like about the RitFit one, because there was a lot of things I do like about the hoist one. It's the catches are better, the headrest is better, just the
Doesn't have that
smoothness, the
thing, that
angle.
weird thing in the middle
Yeah, there's no weird thing in the
that'll make you
middle.
Jewish against your will if you something goes wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said the hoist, that's the one that you recommend.
That's the one I have experience on, so I can speak on it. There's lots of them out there, but I've never used them, so I can't recommend something that I've never actually tried.
Oh, 100%. I will also say this, fun fact about me, I have never used one of those things. And the reason why I never have is, I didn't have like some emotional thing against it, but when I worked in a public gym, I saw a guy get pinned in one. And now that was self-inflicted because he knew when he was loading all those plates on there that he couldn't lift that. But, the pre-work, that's back in the days when pre-workout was new. So I don't know what he had. I think he was high on that ultimate orange, and motivation was high. And next thing I know, I hear him say, help. So we run over there, and he's got the plates stacked up. And there's no way I could do it by myself. People are running over there. It took 6 of us to get him out of that thing because you got to think about it. So some of us had to squat the weight up, right?
Yeah.
Like spotting and loading at a powerlifting meet. We had to squat the weight back off of him and stand there and hold it while everybody else was taking the plates off.
Wow.
And
that's scary.
He couldn't get out, so somebody else had to drag him out of there. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So I've actually never ever used one. However, I did do a home gym tour with Justin. I can't believe I forgot Justin's last name. Justin. It's here on the YouTube channel, and he had a Body Solid one, and I'm a big fan of Body Solid as a brand in general. He said he really liked it, but we'll go ahead. What I'll do is I'll find the link for the hoist, and I will not only put the link for the hoist that you have in the description for this video, but I'll also go ahead and put it as a reply to my man JJ Much More 9149's question. That way, but of course, if you want to go and answer it, that's awesome as well.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next question. This one is from Instagram. It comes from at Mandy_C10, and she says also about the RitFit leg press hack squat combo. Have you ever gotten this many questions about something you didn't like?
Yeah, no.
That's bad. Let's just stop that question for a second, because that is fascinating to me that you said plain and simple, I don't like this. I can't recommend it. There's so many things I don't like about it. So of course, everybody then starts to ask you questions. Well, do you think it would work if I had it in it's like a Dr. Seuss. Would it work? Would it work in the living room? Would it work if I'm wearing a hat? Would it work if I had that? I'm like, have you ever in your life had people ask you this much about something you said don't buy?
Yeah, and there was even some questions like about because I really didn't like the angle positioning of the foot plate for the leg press, and someone was like, that would be for calf raise, and in my mind I'm like, no, that wouldn't be, like, that's still not mechanically sound. Right. There's so many things wrong.
Yeah, I saw. That's just fascinating to me how human nature works. You say don't buy it, so then they start asking you questions about, well, if I did get it. But anyway, so back to Mandy C_10's question. She said, will this work for petite women? You're not a petite woman, so I'm not sure how she expects you to know the answer to that. But will this work for petite women? I'm only 4'11", and a lot of equipment isn't designed for petite women. So just do your best. What do you think?
I thought yes, because in my review I showed that the catch positions were just not kind of fitting the standard human size, let's say like 5'5" to 6 foot. So I feel like anybody that was really short would have easily been able to like get in that tiny little catch position they had to be able to use it. So maybe that machine was designed for smaller humans in general, because it definitely doesn't fit average size. You know, I'm just under 5'10". So I said yes, because I think she could use it, and given her petite frame, it might actually be a good fit for her.
Yeah. Wouldn't that suck if she gets it and then it turns out that she's like just a little too short? Or like that would be horrible. Like, see.
When I posted that on Facebook Marketplace, I had hundreds of messages of people wanting to buy it. The views, you know how you like the Facebook Marketplace tells you like how many viewed? I
Yeah.
had almost 40,000 clicks.
40,000.
Yes.
Good God.
So like it has a really good resale. I mean, it looks good. So when people see it, they're like, "Oh, that looks good," which means it must function good. But those aren't related. But yeah, so like if she did buy it, you can get your. I had somebody even offer me more than I was selling it if they came to pick it up first. So the resale of that was actually really good.
I'm picturing you like having an auction in your front yard, you know, talking like an auctioneer I can't do it, but talking all fast, you know, whatever. Like I just think that's hilarious. So let's see in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got my guy Carlos is here, as we said. What's up, Carlos? Eric Carpenter, my guy Carp's Gym is here. He's also up. These Central Time Zone people, like they take it personally when I say that we are going to be up before them and we're going to talk. And they're like, nah, we're awake already. So they don't wait for me to say good morning. So what's up to Carp's Gym? And Carlos said, I have yet to try a leg press machine, but I really want to, and I want one. So just don't get pinned underneath. Don't get pinned in the machine. Okay. So there you go. And let's see here. This is the last RitFit question, I promise. You just got the hip thrust bench, and without spoiling the review, how do you like it, you know, in general so far? Let's talk about the assembly process, or whatever you want to say about it.
So assembly, putting things together is a weakness of mine. So for me, it was very simple to put together. So if you have zero skills for assembly, especially females, if you want to have like a home gym, you know, hip thrust that, you know, work on your legs and your glutes, this one, if I can do it, I promise you can do it. So the assembly was super easy. And so far, my use of it has been, I'm way more impressed already than with the hack squat leg press combo. So I am looking forward to doing the review, because the design of it, they were very innovative. There's a lot of things that I was like, wow, that was a really good idea to put this and to build this and include this. So I think this one possibly will be a much better review.
And so, of course, Murphy's Law says that nobody be interested in that one. They want the one that you hated. That's what's going to So that is actually going to come in, you know, we're actually waiting for it to show up at our house, because we're going to do it. The plan is to do it as a joint review. So we're going to do a review of it. And when I say we, my wife and I are going to do a review of it with Ashley. So you guys make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because then that way you guys will be able to check that out. All right. So now let's move on to the next question. So today, two of my guests are going to be talking, my other guests are going to be talking about working from home and working out at home. So that's a little bit more challenging than people realize. What would you say are the top, let's say the top 3 obstacles that people face if they want to try to maintain their fitness when they work from home, even if they have a home gym?
So the people that have a home gym and work from home are the people that have built my garage gym, because they buy all the stuff and then they don't ever use it and they sell it, and I get it. So that's a positive. But the biggest 3 things would be just making time to work out, because when you're at home, there's so many distractions. You're like, oh, I got to cook dinner, I got to do laundry, I got to clean the house, I got to, it's hard to even pull yourself away from work now that we're so easily accessible to work. So sometimes people are just, they push past their boundaries. Instead of working 9 to 5, they're like, oh, I'm already home, might as well work till 7 o'clock. So just making time for your workout, despite all the distractions at home, is tough because when you go to a gym, you don't have to worry about all this stuff going on at the house. You're in the gym, you can get to that stuff when you get home. When you're at home, in the back of your mind, you're like, man, I could get ahead by getting the laundry started or cooking dinner. So I will say that's tough. And another really big thing that I found out, because I grew up with a home gym, like my dad had a basement gym. So for me,
I remember you were talking about the vertical row, and somebody asked you where you bought it, and you're like, man, that thing's older than that thing's. I've had that thing forever. Actually, you said it belonged to like your uncle, or was it your dad?
It was my dad. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah. No, you're good. And then so the next one would be you have to like separating your home gym from your relaxation space. You cannot have workout equipment in your bedroom, in your living room. You cannot have it any place where you unwind or let yourself just relax, rest, and recover, because your mind in those spaces wants to rest, relax, recover. You have to separate it in its own space in your house. I don't care if it's a corner in like somewhere else in your office. Maybe your office is your productivity room, so you have a little corner in your office or in your garage or in your basement. And for me, I even have a sign on my on the inside of my door that leads into my garage. It says gym, because I find that just separating, having that like, okay, I'm going to the gym, even though it's in my house, it does help say like, all right, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to, focus on my work in there. Same as if I was working in my laundry room, or if I was working in the kitchen, or if I was working outside. Separating the two is going to be a game changer.
One of the things that goes along with what you said is like, so it's colors, right? And what I mean by that is, so a lot of us don't like, you don't have to do this, but one thing that actually will be surprising to you if you face this struggle is to paint your home gym a color that energizes you. And I know that sounds really touchy-feely and everything, but I promise you it works, because the colors of the room that you're in can enhance your productivity. That's why they spend all that money on like your color scheme at your job or the gym you go to. They pick that color scheme on purpose to give you like a certain feel. Yoga studios, for example, tend to not be painted the same color as some hardcore strongman gym, just for example.
Yes.
And so if you're looking for something that's like a quick way to kind of subtly let you signal to your body and your mind that you're here to work, that's one easy way to do it. And it's going to make the space look, nicer. You know what I mean? What were you going to say?
I would say, yes, you're 100% correct. They have done studies to show that different colors elicit certain emotions. Like for
banners,
example,
like you have on the wall.
I read here. These are all leased townhomes.
No, I'm saying like banners, like you have on the wall. Also do it,
yes.
because it sets the mood and lets people know,
Yeah, and like yellow. That's why McDonald's is yellow. Yellow makes you want to eat more. So they always say, like, don't paint your kitchen yellow.
Oh wow! See, I did not know that. Don't paint your kitchen yellow. So now I'm thinking back. So in this is a complete tangent, but so my wife is Puerto Rican, and I noticed that when you go into certain Hispanic homes, yellow is a color that sometimes they have in the kitchens. And so what do you think about when you think of his like Latino food or Latin food? It's like you eat a lot of it. So I'm like, that's a conspiracy. I believe that was on something. All right. So let's go into the chat because we've got some responses. So Carlos said, I heard that sometimes it's difficult to work out at home because they see chores that get in the way, just like Ashley said. Jonathan from No Fake 24/7 checked in to hit that like button. And Kurt Statty Daddy says he agreed on moving the equipment out of a relaxing space. That's a powerful observation. Carlos is moving soon, and he said that's one of the deciding factors to go bigger. And you shocked him. You blew his mind with the yellow. So that's something so look at that. You're here to learn. Okay? Write that one down. All right. So I think another thing too is I think one of the biggest things that I've seen with my wife, especially, she works from home, is people who work from home have this, I guess, a fear that their boss will think that they're goofing off. They're not working, right? They're like, because and I hear it when I go to the office, when I go to work, they always talk about how people who are at home aren't actually working, especially during the pandemic. And it's, you know what, that's partly their fault, because they were all posting like in their Microsoft Teams and on Slack and stuff. Oh yeah, I'm just here, you know, I'm in my pajamas, I'm doing TikTok dances. I'm like, well, if you don't want your boss to think you're not working, maybe you shouldn't be playing bingo on, you know, online and telling everybody that you're playing bingo. You know, maybe you should actually be, you know, doing your work so he can see that you're working. But my wife has a thing where she has to make herself stop working every night. She has literally 2 alarms set. The first one is aspirational, right? I always tell her that's an aspirational alarm, because you're not actually going to stop when that alarm goes off. So it goes off, and then like 15, 30 minutes later, it actually goes off, and she's, okay, I'm actually going to stop, right? But that's the thing, is like, to tell someone who is concerned that their boss doesn't think that they're doing their work, to stop, take 30 minutes to 45 minutes to go work out, even if it's only like in our case, it's she's 10 feet away from the home gym. But even in that case, it's tough, because she's like, if I go do that, it's going to look like I'm not working. You know, if they reach out to, I mean, it's not like she's going to be videoing herself, but if they reach out to her and she's, you know, and unavailable, like, well, what's she doing? You know what I mean? So do your clients face that?
Some of them, and I just tell them they have to let go of the attachment to the idea that that's a negative thing, right? Like, when you work from home, we know that productivity is going to diminish every hour that you're sitting in focus, right? You're supposed to take 5 to 10 minutes every hour to get up and move around. So if you take that 30, 45-minute hour break, let's say it's your lunch break, and you work out, you're going to come back more rejuvenated, mentally refreshed, and be more productive. So instead of looking at it as like, man, the boss is going to think I'm away, then just communicate with them. Hey, listen, every day at 11 o'clock, I'm going to pause, take my lunch break early, get my workout in, and then I feel as though that could be something that can be definitely worked around, as long as you have open communication and you say like, hey, I have to take this break. I'm still going to, she puts in the hours. If you're working till 9 o'clock at night, or you have to have 2 alarms, clearly you care about your job. So yeah. I feel as though that's just this, idea of, has it ever happened? Have you ever stepped away from work and your boss got mad for you for going to get a workout in? Instead, just kind of face that head on and say, hey, this is my workout time. I'm going to do your work's going to get done.
Right.
You just have to let that go.
I think it's the availability thing. It's not necessarily them thinking, okay, her thinking, oh, well, they're going to think I'm not putting in the hours. It's my boss reached out to me and I was unavailable.
Well, then, does it have to be that she works out during work time? Can she work out before or after?
Yeah, but okay. So again, it's the long hours. It's feeling like it's hard to tear away when it's right there. So think about it historically, even when people work from home because they had a farm, right? You still have to go to the field. You still have to go out to the barn. There's a clear separation. In my wife's case, she goes right downstairs. So the commute is very manageable. She goes right downstairs and boom, she's working. You know what I mean? In fact, so there's a video somewhere on the channel where I forgot she was at work because she just started working from home, and I forgot that she was there. Her office is literally on the other side of the wall from the home gym. So I go to do a bench press, and it wasn't my max or anything. It was like 135 pounds or something like that. But I do it, and I stand up, and if you were not familiar with a bench press, after you've done it, you don't typically put it down gently. Like, you don't put it down. I normally just drop it. That's why I spent money on bumper plates. So I just drop it. So I drop it, and I'm like, I'm fired. I'm like, yeah. Then I'm like, oh, uh-oh. And I thought it was funny. So I recorded, I posted the whole video, but it's one of those things like she's literally right there. But it's just tough to say, okay, I'm going to. And here's the other thing too. It's not just that she's at work and she wants to be responsible and responsive to her boss, but she also has people under her who may reach out. Hey, I needed your help with this thing, and it's critical. I needed you, and I couldn't get in touch with you. You know what I mean? So I think that's the biggest thing to say. But my point was, and I've actually heard people say this, like if you said, okay, I'm blocking out an hour for therapy, nobody would say, oh, well, you know, don't do it. And we all say that this is therapy, right? So
Yeah.
it's a matter of seeing this as important self-care, if that makes sense.
Yes. And I agree with that. And just be like, hey, you know, boss, this is my 45 minutes of my appointment with myself, my therapy, my, you know, mental health. Like you can't argue that. So definitely.
Yeah. So apparently Kurt Locker said it's fighting words to get people to actually work. I mean, hey, look, you're going to be there. So when I go to work, I work a 12-hour day. So I always say, hey, I'm going to be here for 12 hours. I may as well actually do something since I'm here, because you actually get bored. But anyway, let's move on to the next thing. So we've already talked a little bit about it, but what are some habits that you've seen that have helped people actually succeed when they work from home and they're trying to be successful at, you know, hitting their fitness and their nutrition goals?
One habit or one thing that I've seen that works tremendously is being a part of the community. So if you are a home gym worker, get involved with one of the million different communities out there, whether it's Peloton and you network with other Pelotoners and you guys follow each other and you get involved, like there's an instructor you like and you take their live classes, whether it's street parking and you do that with a friend, whether it's like a YouTube and you work out with someone you really like on YouTube, get involved with some sort of community where you feel like you're a part of it, because then you feel as though like there's other people with you, you're not alone, right? You could do yoga classes, you know, they have live yoga classes and all these things you can be a part of from home that not only gives you accountability because you have to, you know, join the live class or join whatever it is, and then interact with others so that you're like, wow, like I'm here with other people. Being a part of something is one of the most successful. I mean, look at Peloton, look at these street parking. Like I know you and I have talked about that before. They are so successful because people we're herders, right? We want to be with other people. So be a part of something and stick with it and network with the people, and then you'll be more likely to stick, you know, to the program. Nice.
All right. So let's switch gears a little bit. If anybody else has any questions or comments about working out when you have a home office and a home gym, go ahead and just drop them in the chat and we'll go ahead and we'll ask them and address them. But I've been meaning to ask you this, Ashley. What is your opinion of those devices that claim to measure your metabolism? Like I guess you'd give yourself a breathalyzer test. That's what it looks like. You're giving yourself a breathalyzer test. So it's like, for example, Lumen. It says it's going to measure metabolism. And full disclosure, I don't know anything about Lumen other than you put it in your mouth like a kazoo and you blow into it. And then I guess weight falls off you. I don't know, whatever. So, but what's your opinion about those sorts of devices?
Whoever thought of it was a genius, because they are making a crap ton of money based on a garbage apparatus, but they're making the money because the general public doesn't know any better. So they buy it thinking it's going to help their health or whatever, when in actuality, it really tells you nothing that you don't already know by just existing. Like it's basic knowledge. Okay, so it's not basic. Yeah, let me take the fact.
Well, hold on. So are you saying that you can know whether you worked out yesterday without blowing into the Lumen kazoo?
You can know what substrate you brought. You can know what macro. When I say substrate, I'm saying like energy source or macronutrient, carb, fat, protein, without blowing into a kazoo. Yes, they're literally just taking your money for something that if you just read a little bit or watch a educational YouTube video, or I can explain it to you in 5 minutes here, you can already know where your metabolism is and you don't have to spend the money. It's a gimmick, and it blows my mind that there's so many people that they just don't know better, because it's not something we teach in schools, but it's not giving you any information about your metabolic health. Like it's not telling you if you're, it's such crap.
Well, go ahead. I think, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's only 5 minutes. We got a little bit of time. So go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead and explain what would be a quick and dirty way for the layman that, that you would explain, hey, this is how to know what you're burning. Because the only way that I know to do it, well, okay, there's two ways, but the best way that I know to do it, the easiest way, is to measure the duration of your training session. And if you're going continuously, so let's say you've been working out, so let's say you're running, okay? When you get to, I'm not sure, but I think if you get to like 30 minutes of continuous movement, your body has shifted away from burning carbs, and you're finally starting to enter the fat burning zone, even though you're always burning a little bit of each thing. But educate me. Tell me, how would you teach a client in 5 minutes, to figure out what they're burning, what their metabolism is doing?
Okay, so the Lumen is something you breathe into, and it's in a matter of like 10 seconds or however long your breath is. It's measuring your CO2. And it's the cheaper version of a laboratory apparatus called a metabolic cart. So the metabolic cart, you hook it up, it's a face mask. It measures your RER, which is your respiratory exchange ratio, which is the measurement of CO2, carbon dioxide exhaled, and O2 consumed. So if we are consuming more oxygen, utilizing more oxygen, we're using our aerobic pathway, which is oxygen fat burning. If we are expiring a lot of carbon dioxide, we are in a high threshold. We're doing HIIT, we're doing explosive movements, we're using a lot of carbohydrate as our energy source. So the Lumen, in the matter of seconds, is saying that, you have a high CO2, you must be using carbohydrates, or you have a low CO2, you must be using fats. When in actuality, there's only your body has 3 metabolic pathways. It's only going to one of those 3. If you're doing, like you said, low intensity, steady state, even 2 minutes and beyond, you're using fat. If you're at rest, you're using fat. If you're sleeping, Lumen says, take it first thing in the morning and you're fasted, of course you're going to be saying that you're burning fat, because that's where your body, that's where we exist at. We're always
that's what you were burning all night, no matter what.
Right. So it doesn't, you don't need Lumen to tell you that. The only caveat to that would be if you have some kind of metabolic disorder, like your insulin resistance, things like that, then you're going to be an outlier. If you're doing high intensity HIIT, you're doing power cleans, you're doing anything quick and fast, you're using carbohydrates as your fuel source. So you're going to be exhaling more CO2 because you're working a lot and you're burning a lot of energy really quick. So that short burst, you don't need a device to tell you that. And the thing about Lumen is it says it can give you your respiratory exchange ratio, whether you're burning carbs or fats. But it doesn't actually measure O2, and you don't calibrate it, and it doesn't take into consideration what your environment is, right? What are the other gases in your room and what the levels are at? Where if you were to do a metabolic cart, it's measuring your O2 and CO2, and it's calibrated to the other gases in the room. So it's not even accurate. So it's just pretty much telling you you're fasted, say take in the morning, you're fasted and you're already at rest. So of course it's going to say you're burning fat, and you're going to get up and be like, oh my God, look at this, I'm burning fat. When no kidding, that's where you're supposed to be. That's where we exist.
Okay. So now you got me thinking about something else, which is in order to do the actual test, you would need to be part of probably a university study.
So I'm at George Mason, and we have a lab. I've used the metabolic cart on myself and on other people, and it's really interesting because you can someone's hooked up to it, and let's say they're doing a VO2 max test. You can watch the numbers change as we're monitoring their CO2 and O2, and see when they go from that fat burning to the carbohydrate to their lactate threshold, and then they plateau, and then you can get their VO2 max. And it's really cool to see how the body, because everybody's going to differ a little bit of how long they take to progress from fats to carbs. And it's really interesting to see that.
So the reason why I brought that up, though, is because most people, especially people watching this, would assume, oh, well, there's no way I can ever be involved in stuff like that. But periodically I'll get stuff to say, hey, do you want to be part, especially as like every time I change I guess age brackets, then I'll start seeing like different things inviting me to be part of this study or that study. So like when I was in my 20s, they assumed I was broke. They're like, hey, you want to be part of a study, we'll pay you, right? It's measuring whatever. And then as I got older, they were like, hey, especially since, as a veteran, you may get this stuff too, but they'll say, hey, we want to check and measure whatever thing based upon where you were stationed. They're like, hey, we're kind of trying to track and see what the effects are on you of your time of service. How easy is it to like basically volunteer to be part of a study like that? Because too many times when I was part of the NSCA, I'd read the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, and too many of the studies were, from an untrained participant, and the study was very short because it's basically, well, we have college students available, so that's what we used, right? But how could you so like if Kurt, let's go ahead and volunteer Kurt. So if Kurt, who was in the chat, wanted to be part of a research study, so for his own purposes, he could find out what his metabolic rate is, how would he do that?
I mean, if he lives close to a university, I'm going to speak on George Mason because that's where I'm at. We have a Instagram page where we post like, hey, we're recruiting people that fit this criteria. So if you're interested, this age group, and like you're either, you're an athlete or you're not trained, we post that stuff. So if you're near a university, you can always kind of contact them or look on their different pages. We usually post what we need participants. There's also a website, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there is a website that you can look for studies all around the United States and ones that like pay money for you to do. So I can get back to you on that so you can post it, because I know I've looked at that before, because they're always looking for people. And then again, lastly, at George Mason, our lab is open to the general public. So we do accept appointments. So you can always look into any university you're near if they do general public appointments, because we can have, like, if you live here, and you're like, hey, actually, I want to know, my whether I burn carbs or fats, and like at what heart rate, right? Because that's what the metabolic cart does during a VO2. You can see what heart rate zones where you're burning carbs or fats, and then take that home with you, so like, hey, this is what science showed me when I'm at a heart rate of 160. This is what I'm burning. So we have that open to general public. So you can also check that in your local area to see if your university offers that as well.
Nice, because that's something that I know. Number one, it's not something that occurs to people. You're like, oh, I need to go to the doctor. I don't have the money. My health insurance won't cover that. I'm like, you actually, some of the stuff you don't have to pay for it. Just find a university and they're willing to do it, because you guys need the data. Yeah. Because the bigger your sample size, the bigger your population size for whatever metric you're measuring, the more accurate your studies your research is going to be. And that, that benefits everybody in the long run. Kurt says he has his own university to go to. So he's apparently he's too good for your university recommendations. And that's how those Air Force guys are, He said, plus the Air Force has the 711th Human Performance Wing here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Well, I'm going to tell you what, Kurt, it can't be that impressive, because if it was great, then they wouldn't need 711 of them. The first one would have been fine, but it took y'all 711 tries to get it right. That's all I'm saying. 711th Human Performance Wing. Well, what about the third Human Performance Wing? Did that one fail? Okay, all right then. I don't want to hear about the Air Force anymore. Your hair is too long. All right. He says he's is in a master's program in exercise science. So yeah, but those are the exercise, the people who normally know about it, because they get, as an exercise, if you're a student in an exercise science discipline, they probably drag you into the studies. They're like, hey, okay, we need a guinea pig. Come on in here, right? So you find out about it. I know that you have to get out of here but real quick. Last year at HomeGymCon, you fell in love with the Squat Max MD. I don't know if you knew anything about the Squat Max ahead of time.
I did.
All right, but you were like, I really want to try the squat. That's actually when I met you, and you're like, well, possibly. We still haven't figured that out. But you were anxious to try the Squat Max. You fell in love with it, and it changed your home gym.
Yeah.
Because you got rid of stuff so you could fit it in there.
Yes.
What are you excited to see at HomeGymCon this year?
There's not one thing in particular I'm excited to see, but I'm overall excited to see, right? There's like twice as many vendors, and I'm excited to see what they bring this year, what is new and innovative. Of course, I'm excited to see all my friends from last year. Every single one of the people that I connected with, like I follow them. And
make sure you don't talk to Kurt because he turned his nose up at your exercise. So we're blackballing Kurt. I'm just kidding.
And I will say, not HomeGymCon related, but there is a hill right behind the resort that I discovered last year that is one of the steepest hills I have ever encountered in my life. And I went and did some cardio on it, and I can't wait to go back and revisit that hill because never in my life have I encountered such a crazy hill. And I from Iron Masters, his name is also on the tip of my tongue. He discovered that hill, and we both ended up messaging each other about this wickedly steep hill behind the resort that we found that was like death going up, but it was awesome. So I'm excited about that.
So that just shows you how we think, because so like in my head, I've got 3 hills that were horrendous. So one of them was in Tennessee when I was at University of Tennessee Chattanooga. They called it Cardiac Hill. And
yes, we had that at venue.
Yeah, so it's like the Cardiac Hill was super steep, and the thing is, they actually went and ruined it because I guess this generation's soft. But when I was in school, so what I mean by they ruined is like they put a sort of like they leveled out part of it, so it's not quite as steep. But when I was there, it was just straight up, right? And of course, that's where, so I had one class at the bottom of the hill, and then, you don't have that much time to do in classes. So the next class was at the top of the hill on the 2nd floor. So there you go, and of course, when you're an underclassman, you've got like all the books, right? So you see all these underclassmen running up this hill, carrying their books. And you know about that freshman 15, right? Well, that's how they got it off you, trying to get to class, right? And then another one was at Pendleton. I can't say the name of it because it's got the second half of the name is a bad word, and my mom watches all of these, so I can't say it. But let's just say it's right behind the barracks at Polgus. And we were like, so this hill, you're going up the hill, right? And you think you're at the top. You're like, oh, I'm almost at the top. When you get to the top, you find out that it just dog legs that way and continues to be steep. So you're like, oh, seriously? And that was the worst. And then the last one, this one will make you laugh, is we had a friend that lived in our neighborhood, and for some reason, she and her husband's driveway was the steepest thing we've ever seen in our life. All right, like you could do push-ups, just walk to the bottom of it and do push-ups, and it's like you're lying down. The thing was so steep, so we would actually, when my kids were wrestling, that was part of our workout. We'd run over there and do sprints up their driveway. Now we didn't tell them. So they just look out the window like, why are you running up and down our driveway? And then, oh, never mind. We get it. You could do calf raises just by standing on that hill. I'm not even making this up, right? And then they had to go and move. So now we can't use that hill anymore. That's a sad day. Anyway, Ashley, before you get out of here, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you if they want to hire you, because you do coach people online. And if they have any questions, or if they live somewhere near George Mason and they want more information about the programs.
The easiest way to get a hold of me is on Instagram. I am Ashley the Amazing. You can send me a DM, or there's a link in my bio to my website, or email me, contact me. But yeah, shuttle. I pretty much just push everybody through Ashley the Amazing on my Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here once again.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm excited every time that I know you're gonna be on here, because first of all, the conversations never go exactly like we planned, but that's some of the fun of it. And I enjoy having you on here. I can't wait to see you at HomeGymCon next month. And between now and then, we're gonna be doing some collabs on equipment, and I really appreciate. I want to tell you in front of everybody, I really appreciate what you're doing for our channel, bringing your expertise to the channel, and also doing some reviews with a slightly different perspective, using your expertise for that. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right. Yeah, have a great day.
You too.
Bye. All right, so that was Ashley the Amazing, the homie Ashley. She is one of the, she's done, I think, 2 reviews for our channel so far. One was on the Squat Max, one was on the RitFit and the RitFit leg press hack squat combo. Both of those reviews are available here on the channel. You guys definitely want to check them out, and you want to, and I highly encourage you to follow at Ashley __the _amazing _ on Instagram. You guys see it going across the bottom of the screen if you're watching, because it is great. She's got a lot of content that is better than your normal Instagram content. It's very educational. I encourage you to subscribe to her on Instagram. You'll get content that most people don't get to see. So I highly, like I said, I cannot recommend her channel enough to you. All right, so let us move on. Coming up at 7:05, Claire Jones is going to be joining us from the Garage Gym PT Instagram account, and we're going to be keeping the conversation going about people, remote workers, people who have a home office, being able to use their home gym. And I think you guys will enjoy listening to Claire. She's not necessarily one of those people with the huge Instagram account, but she is someone who has a lot of good information to share with you, and that is exactly why I have her on here. So I forgot to do this with the dance party, so I'm going to say it now. Remember that the Friday dance party is sponsored by our friends at Freedom Fitness Equipment. You want to check them out at freedomfitnessequipment.com, and Ashton will hook you up and get you what you need to turn your home gym into the best gym in town. I've used his products or his services multiple times myself. That's how I got the power rack that's downstairs. I'm going to be ordering a couple of other things as I continue to Frankenstein my power rack. So freedomfitnessequipment.com is where you need to go. And then if you want to have some music that people recognize, or you just want access to more music than you can get in YouTube Studio, you want to try out licked.com. Licked.com is the largest, it's the biggest mainstream stock music platform for content creators. You can try it free for 14 days and get 50% off your first mainstream track. There's a link in the description for this video, so go ahead and check that out as well. And then let's go ahead and move on into our next segment. Oh, wait, we got a question. Eric Echo slept in. All right, so just for that, all right, we're going to run it back. Eric, right now, you did this to the people, okay? You did this to the people. Here we go. Oh, hold up. Screwed up. Here we go.
I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out.
Yo, special girl, real good girl, biggest thing in my itty bitty world. Call her up and she made me feel right. Wish the bliss could never take flight. Sitting back with this mic in my hand, spitting hot shit, trying to see grand. Imprinted on my mind every minute. Make my plans and you always in it, yo. It's such a vibrant thing, a vibrant thing. And even though we both fly, give each other space and not the evil eye. Acting like grown-ups, don't even try to hide cause the spot blown up. Girlfriend telling you she wanna see. I say I don't know, but you say gladly. And when we both do it, we go on and on and on and on and on and sweeter than Ben and Jerry. Can I rhyme? Well, you know I get mine. Sitting around in my abstract car, this abstract thing going abstract far, yeah. Such a vibrant thing, a vibrant thing. Yeah, it's such a vibrant thing, a vibrant thing. Check it, yeah, check it, check it, look at me, yeah, it's such a vibrant thing, a vibrant thing. Yeah, check it, look at me, check it, yeah, check it, yeah, it's such a vibrant thing. Vibrant,
I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out. I'm about to wreck your body as they turn the party out.
So first of all, I like to just point out the fact that I didn't realize I had shaving cream on my neck when I was doing that video, and yet I did. That's awesome. Oh, that's great. I was looking, I was like, what is that on my neck? What is that growth that's on my neck? I was like, what is that? So then I started like looking. I know you guys couldn't see me, but I was looking, I was like, do I have what is that? Oh, okay. Then I realized it was shaving cream. So anyway, so you guys can blame Eric Eccles because you got to see the dance party twice. Today, you got to see my gyration. All right. Now, let's see. Carp's Gym said DexFit is another option for testing, and that is related to what we were talking about with Ashley as far as going to a university and getting them to test you. And what I like about the university option is it's free. You don't have to say, oh, well, my insurance won't cover it. I mean, you got to sign some waivers and be willing to accept the fact that some of these are students who are testing you, but you know, they're basically grad students, research assistants. So it's not like day one of them testing you, you know what I mean? And hey, you never know. Mess around, you might come out of there like Steve Rogers. So there's that as well. So let's move on. So Carp said in Nashville, they have a place called Transformation Lab. That is legit. That's what I'm saying. Is like these are different ways that you can test yourself. And now you're not spending money on dubious kazoo-shaped gadgets from Instagram. And that's what I'm going to say about that. All right, it is time for our next segment, and that is news and other things. All right, news and other things. We're going to go real fast because I got Claire Jones coming, and I want to make sure that when she joins that we can go ahead and we'll just go ahead and move straight into bring her on. So in fact, let me double check and make extra sure that Claire has the link to actually join this event, because I have been guilty of forgetting to send people the link. All right, but I'm not going to do that now. Bam. All right, just did it. All right, so the first item on the docket for news and other things, this is very important, and that is we are live streaming Relentless Nashville to benefit HopeKids. So if you don't know what that is, HopeKids provides ongoing events, activities, and a powerful, unique support community for families who have a child with cancer or some other life-threatening medical condition. And they said they surround the children and their families with a message of hope. So what that basically means is when I did the live stream for it a couple of years ago, the founder said, you know, if you have a kid with a life-threatening medical condition, we always think about, you know, the fact that, you know, like maybe they wanted to always go to Disney World. So you take them to Disney World, and that's great. But what we don't think about is the fact that these kids, their entire day, every week of the year is, okay, get up, go somewhere and get tested, and get up, go somewhere, get blood drawn, get up, you know what I mean? And it's just a grind. And so what HopeKids does is they'll come in and maybe they'll make it possible for the parents to go out and celebrate their anniversary instead of having to worry about their kid for that, you know, 1 hour or whatever. So it's seriously a great support structure, but they can't do it without donations. And Relentless is a powerlifting meet that was started as a charity event to benefit the kids. It is sanctioned through the Southern Powerlifting Federation. Whatever you feel about this federation that's sanctioning it, that's not the point. The point is, it is a sanctioned meet. You can set records, yes, but I don't care about any of that. What I care about is you go there, and what you have to do is get people to donate to the event, and then you can compete. And I'm telling you, once you've done it, I was there. Once you've done it and you see these kids looking at you like you are their superhero, you will want to do it again and again and again, because you get to be Steve Rogers for the day. All right. I guess Claire's on here. So you get to be Captain Britain. You get to be Captain Britain or Union Jack. All right, let's be fair, okay? But no, seriously, it's like this is an outstanding cause, and I'm so honored to be asked to come back to do Relentless Nashville. If you live in the Nashville area, hey, Carp, if you want to swing by, man, I know you're into strongman and powerlifting and all that kind of stuff. Swing by. It's going to be at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Swing by, say what's up, and that will be next Friday, next Saturday, April 6th. So next Friday, we're going to have this podcast. Next Saturday, April 6th at 10 a.m. Central Time, we will be kicking everything off. So make sure that you guys jump into that, and the link is in the description for this video. Also, we've got news that the Rep Aries is coming. You can get more info about it by going to repfitness.com/products/Aries 2.0. They're going to be opening up the pre-orders in May, and the shipping is going to start in August. I know you've probably seen a lot of people on social media talking about it. There are a couple of things that are different. They've got a higher attachment point for the low row. It's going to offer you some mid-row functionality. They've seated the row pulleys closer together so that it's easier to use the attachments. The foot plate is larger. There's a bunch of different things that are different about this product. So you're going to want to, if you're interested in that, if you have it's the same price as the Aries 1.0, but I'm curious to see if the Aries 1.0 is going to go down in price if they still have some in stock, since the 2.0 is coming out, because I think that's what happened with the AB 5200 when they brought out the 2.0. The cost for that went down, and you could get that at a discount while they were clearing out their inventory, getting ready to go into the AB 5200 2.0. So that's it. Oh yeah, Captain Carter. Okay, there you go. All right. CBS True Consumer Reviews just reminded me. He reminded me. You got Captain Carter, who Sharon Carter. That's right, from England. There you go. All right. So shout out to the Central Time Zone. Although you guys are already here last week, I forgot to say good morning to you. I'm saying good morning now. I am not forgetting, okay? And let's see here. Claire, I see you. I will be bringing you on in just a second, but give me a thumbs up if you are all set to go, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'll bring you on stage. Yeah, all right. So Claire is ready to go. I have got one more item that I'm going to tell you guys about. All right, so this is another news item, or I guess it's not really news, but let's just pretend it is. It's about me. So you guys seem to really respond very well when last week when I told you about the dumb emails I get. So I'm going to go ahead and let you back into my world again, all right? This week's ridiculousness comes from LinkedIn messaging. All right, so this is all a quote, okay? The message comes from somebody. They sent me a connection request. I accepted it. And then immediately I get a message from it. It says, "Thank you for connecting. I'm thrilled to extend a personal invitation to you to join me on June 29th, 2024 at the Town Square in Jackson, Wyoming for my epic world-breaking butterfly gathering." Now, if you're like me, you're going to say, what I said. What? First thing I said was, Jackson, Wyoming. I don't even know where. I know where Wyoming is, but I don't know where. I didn't know Jackson. I didn't know they had a town called Jackson, because Wyoming is not on my radar to visit at all. All right, but apparently there's going to be an epic world-breaking butterfly gathering there, and I know you're curious. What's a butterfly gathering? I'm going to tell you, because they told me. First of all, if you want to secure your spot, you can register at butterflymarch.com. Don't miss out on this chance to be part of history when we gather the largest number of people dressed as butterflies. That's the butterfly gathering. A large number of people dressed as butterflies. She said, "Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'm looking forward to sharing this empowering experience with you." Okay. So number one, I'm not going to be at the Wyoming butterfly gathering, nor will I be dressing up as a butterfly at any other locations in the foreseeable future. But if you're in the chat, because I know we have an eclectic bunch in here, if you're in the chat and you need that information, just put a comment. Oh, there, Carlos said he wants the website. I knew somebody's going to say they want to go. Butterflymarch.com, because I don't want you to, if you're on board, I don't want you to miss the butterfly gathering. All right, what a time to be alive. Now, I was going to take the blame for it. I said I accepted their connection request. So, yes, that is partially my fault. But I say it's 50-50 because they took advantage of the fact that I'm trying to grow my LinkedIn. So, basically, right now, I'm accepting any connection request, okay? Later on, I'll be selective. But right now, I don't care. If you send me a connection request on LinkedIn, I got to get to 150 people on LinkedIn so I can live stream this broadcast to LinkedIn. So if you send me a connection request, I don't care if you live in a village in Pakistan and you make all the fitness equipments and you reach out to connect, I'm going to accept the connection request. Don't judge me. I have a goal in mind, and sacrifices must be made. All right, now we're bringing you guys on. We're bringing on Claire right now because I want to know if she's going to the butterfly gathering. I see the look on her face. I feel like Claire might have a little bit of love for the butterfly gathering. Claire, thank you for joining us. Are you going to the butterfly gathering in Jackson, Wyoming?
Do you know what, right? I thought that sounds quite interesting. I might book a flight, go over and check it out, see what it's all about.
You have changed my impression of what the UK is like tremendously with that one statement, okay? Just the fact that you're like, yeah, sure, why not? All right, I'll go somewhere. Remember now, okay, let's go back over the rules. You can't just go, all right? I mean, I might, if Wyoming was closer to me, which is not, I might go for like 5 minutes just to see people dressed up as butterflies. These otherwise, you'd assume they're otherwise normal adults. They're all dressed up as butterflies. Sure, yeah, I might look at that for a minute, but I'm not. But you can't. It's not a spectator sport, Claire. You have to dress up as a butterfly. You understand the investment, okay? I'm not saying you got to dress up as a butterfly and be on the plane as a butterfly. I don't think that's necessary.
Oh, could you imagine?
I can definitely imagine. I'm picturing Carlos dressed as a butterfly right now on the plane, headed there, sharing seats with the Kurt Locker.
See, I'm a bit terrible with like dress up and fancy dress and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe I'll pass on that one.
So my next question is, because you're gonna need supplies. Where would you even get the garments that you need, the supplies you need to construct this butterfly garment? And if you happen to know, go ahead and share that information, because if you look at I don't know if you can see the live chat, but if you can see the live chat, there is a significant amount of interest from people who have obviously taken way too much pre-workout and they're not awake yet because they're all on board. We've got people say, hey, that actually sounds pretty cool. I might want to go. Yeah, so I'm just telling you right now, this butterfly gathering, I'm not going to be there.
I think any mum or dad's favorite for crafts and stuff like that would probably be eBay, Amazon, or over here we have a place called Hobbycraft. You'd find everything you need there. Okay,
so if you're watching this, and especially if you're watching on replay and you want to know how my show got derailed, it's my fault. I mentioned the butterfly gathering, but I will, in the spirit of community and cooperation, I will get so Carlos said Party City Shop, and you said Hobbycraft. That's okay.
Yeah,
I will put the links to those establishments in the description of this video. And so I am judging you, but I'm not going to judge you out loud. I am judging you, all right? But I'm not going to judge you out loud. So I will put the links to those after this is over. I promise I'll put it in there. All I ask is that you keep my name out of it, and still, don't say I sent you there, but somehow or other, I want to see the aftermath. So figure out a way to tag me that doesn't also give me any culpability, because I'm not interested in that. Okay, so that's that. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the actual questions that I promised to ask Claire, because that was the butterfly gathering and everything associated with it were not at all on the docket, So Claire, I apologize. This was your first time on the show, and you're like, what sort of place is this? It's
what have I signed up to?
Yeah. this is that. This is the kind of place you've stumbled across. All right. First of all, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning for you, right? So you've had time to become alert, which is why I'm surprised that you were kind of on board with this. But we're still waking up. All right. We're still waking up. Some of us haven't even inhaled smog yet. We're still in the house. So let's just go. So, but your practice, and I say practice because you are a PT. Your practice is based in your home gym / home office. Because, and I say that because, you know, obviously you demonstrate techniques. You're not going to demonstrate them in your office. You go to your home gym, and then but you've got a home office as well. So describe for me though. Describe for me though your typical client. I know that you work with people virtually, but do you also work with people in person?
Well, the whole PT thing for me is really more of a hobby. Really, it's not a full-time thing at all by any means.
Whoa! You just said you're a physiotherapist as a hobby. All right, but you went to school, right?
Personal trainer.
Personal trainer. Oh, so I thought you were a physiotherapist. So here this is an example of how English is not English. So when we say PT, typically we mean physiotherapist. So when you said hobby, I said, whoa, hold on a second. But you went to school, right? Okay. We're going off around. Physiotherapy on the side. She's going to the
no.
I'm quietly just removing her from the stream.
Cheers.
Oh God. Okay. All right. So you're a personal trainer. Okay. I can live with it. I can deal with it. Okay. So that's on the side. So do you see clients? In your home as well as virtually?
The only people I'd see at home really is just like friends and family. But generally it's online. I'm working with only a small handful of people at the moment who tend to sort of typically be male or female, 35 plus, you know, they've got kids, wanting to kind of take control of their health and their fitness, just want to get stronger really, start working out a bit more. And I sort of, you know, guide them with like, you know, how many times to work out a week, what kind of exercises to do, how many, how intense, that kind of thing. And also give them guidance around nutrition and building a lifestyle change rather than just, you know, slapping them on a calorie deficit for like 12 weeks and expecting miracles, because it's definitely more of a lifestyle change. So yeah, helping them with that and making sure that they achieve the goals that they want to achieve. Okay,
so then my next question is, so you've got clients and you work with some of them virtually. So do you have remote workers who are your clients, or is your experience with remote work basically from your own experience?
Remote work is me and one other client who is a remote worker as well. And it's really just those two at the moment. Like, not many other remote workers are on board, unfortunately.
Oh, well, hey, you might get some of them. And the cool thing about being virtual is you could get clients from here in the States. So like, I had absolutely. My mobility coach is currently in Spain, in Tarifa, Spain, you know.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I don't need to see them. Like I post my, I post my video for them to see. And then when they wake up, they look at it, you know.
That's
and
the beauty of online.
Message me back. And when I wake up, I look at their response. So you don't have to be in the whatever. Wait a minute. Carlos, I just saw that slander. I am not going to be in the leotard with wings. Let's shut that internet rumor down right now. I'm not doing that. I can tell you that right now. But tell me, what's the climate like for remote work in England? Is it generally more accepted, especially post lockdown, or are people who work from home facing pressure to return to the office like they are here in the States?
So I think working from home has definitely become more acceptable since COVID and the lockdowns we had, because a lot of big corporate companies started rationalizing their property portfolios. So they were closing a lot of offices because, you know, for 2 years, people were working from home and they realized it saved them a lot of money. And I think now it still seems like it's the new norm. It does depend on what company you work for. And a lot of companies are actually kind of, the hybrid working model is probably more prevalent than it was before COVID as well. So for example, working 3 days from home, maybe 2 days in the office, that kind of thing is definitely more available to people. But there's been lots of talk in the press about, you know, encouraging the return to the office more for like wider society, so towns and shops and stuff, because obviously if you've got a town that's full of workers who are suddenly working from home, nobody's visiting those shops at lunchtime and things like that. So there was a bit of a push for it, but I don't really know what the appetite was for that. I'm definitely still 100% remote and will be for the foreseeable future. So I don't really see it changing much, to be honest.
One of the things that I think, or that I know happened here, so two side effects are, number one, and this actually relates to what we're about to talk about. So one of them is that DoorDash and Grubhub, like the meal delivery services, and not just grocery, you know, Instacart was already bringing you your groceries from the grocery store, but then you started seeing more Grubhub, more DoorDash, you even at Uber Eats, where they would deliver your lunch to you. So now you're not having to leave the office and go get food. They're bringing it right to you, is already prepared. So that's going to kind of impact your calorie consumption, because it's a lot easier. Because I mean, think about it. Even if you go to a fast food place, a takeaway, you still have you know, you have to actually go there. You know, there's some. It's not necessarily what I would say grueling cardio, but you have to park the car, get out, walk inside. You know, there's still some activity level associated with it.
Absolutely,
you know, now it's like, it's almost like you're ordering a pizza. You know, it's like, okay, I got to walk all the way to the front door to get the food, and then go right back to my office and sit down. So your commute is shrunk. You're not going to the office, getting out of the car, having to go inside. You know, whatever is associated with getting from your car to your desk. So your activity level is going to go down because of that. And if you don't have any other exercise in your life, you know, if that was your physical activity and now it's gone, and now we also made it so that we'll just bring food to you, you know, now you're going to get, you end up like those people in the movie Wall-E, where it's like, you're just ginormous, you're just fat, you know, like, because everything's being brought to you. Is that what you guys are seeing over there?
I think definitely, obviously, there's a lot more people working from home. So obviously, like you say, their movement has gone down, their steps. I know mine did ridiculously. And I suddenly realized, holy crap, I need to move. I need to get going. I need to try and actually get some steps in. And then obviously, we've got slightly different companies over here. So we have like Just Eat, Deliveroo, Uber Eats as well, and other sort of people that will deliver your groceries and stuff within like 20 minutes. So you don't need to even get off your couch to get your groceries or your takeaway, whatever you fancy. And those services blew up during COVID. Obviously, you couldn't leave your house. And I think it's just continued because COVID and the lockdowns were so long that people got into a habit with it. And, you know, their marketing is very sneaky as well. I don't know if you've ever signed up to any of these, but, you know, if you try one out as a one-off, you'll get reminders and notifications and emails on like a Thursday, planting that seed for you to try and get, you know, get a takeaway ordered for the Friday or the Saturday, which is normally when, if anybody's trying to follow kind of like a health and fitness regime, they're like the old story, you know, they're super good in the week and then it gets to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it just goes out the window and they eat everything in sight. So it's not, I think the combination of the two, like a lot more people working from home and sitting and not getting the activity in that they normally would do, and the combination of convenience, which is just like you say, like with Wall-E, it's just, I do think about that at times, like scary projection potentially of the future. I think it is bad. I think a lot of people just, the convenience and the saving time and effort and having to even think about what to cook and stuff is, it's not good.
So you are so lucky that I don't know your zip code, your postal code, because while you were talking, I tried to order fish and chips to your house, and I went on. I'm unstoppable. Well, I guess I just got stopped, but I just went on the. You don't really look. I'm going to show you guys here, right here. So share
fish and chips. I like your choice.
Oh yeah. So boom, look at that.
Throw in some mushy peas.
I am on the Just Eats website right now. I was like, so my question is, I wonder how far away. I wonder if I can order. And I was just saying, I'm assuming they won't deliver to me. I said, but you know what? How cool would it be if I have it delivered and you're like, wait a minute, I just had somebody come to the door during this conversation. That'd be hilarious.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I'm a loose cannon. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But you gotta, all right, you're safe. I don't know your zip code yet. All right, let's go. So the other thing I noticed is that downtown, especially in urban centers, became a little bit more deserted. So a little bit of crime went up because there's not as much traffic there. So it's funny to me because you would think that crime wouldn't go up if there's nobody there because you have to have someone to rob. But you do have buildings, and so people going to, there's just not much traffic there, and that was a big deal. But also because traffic downtown went down, now you're not just your normal just walking around, as you said, visiting establishments. You're not walking around saying, oh well, let's eat here, or that place looks like fun, let's go here to do whatever, you know what I mean? And so again, that affects activity level. But the reason I asked you what the climate was in terms of how people view remote work is here in the States, remote workers are always concerned that they need to justify to their boss that they're working. There's an impression, and I think it's wrong because I see my wife work from home. She puts in more time, and everyone else I know who actually works from home or consistently actually puts in a lot more work than people who go to an office. But remote workers always feel like they need to justify their time. Like, they work longer hours. They need to show that they're more productive. And then that impacts their willingness to exercise during the day, even if they have a home gym available. So ironically, this is during your work day and you're talking to me. So there's that. But
it's a bank holiday here.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that we met, we're talking about being responsible when you work from. I'm like, well, she works from home.
It's a day off for me.
She's
I'm
talking
good.
to you. This is her day off. Okay. But in general, it's tough because remote workers they don't want their boss to think they're doing TikTok dances when they're supposed to be working. Yeah. So they don't want to go and work out. Is that something that you see where you are as well?
I think the one.
Or do you feel that pressure?
Yeah, I think I did initially when I first, because before I was based solely at home, if I ever had the odd day where I needed to work from home to pick up my daughter, or like I was getting something delivered to the house that I had to be here for, I definitely felt like, oh, is this all right? Am I actually working? Like, I'm working, but is this okay? And you feel like you're taking the mickey, even though you're not. You're doing your work. You do it. You contracted hours and whatnot. So it was fine. And then when the pandemic hit, it carried on as normal for me, work, but just from home. A lot of people in the UK got furloughed, so they were at home getting paid but not working. So I didn't experience that. I didn't get that lovely joy. But now that we're sort of the other side of the pandemic, I don't really feel that pressure because I work a lot of hours when needed. It's not necessarily all the time. Sometimes my work is busier and slightly slower days. When it's busy, it can be crazy busy to the point where I can log on at 9 o'clock in the morning and still be working at 1 o'clock the next morning because of deadlines and stuff. So I put in the work, so I don't really feel the pressure, but I can feel, I can imagine that other people who maybe don't quite have that pressure in their jobs sometimes to put in those extra hours because of specific deadlines, they may feel that pressure that you've got to be online and available at all times. But I think people kind of have to appreciate the flexibility of being able to work from home. I mean, it very much depends on your employer. I must sort of say that, like, and the type of work and the job. Yeah, and the job that you do, because sometimes it can, like, if you're a call center, like you're working for like a call center from home, you've got to be there to pick up the phone. Right. You can't be going out walking the dog or putting your washing on the line or something. You've got to be there to answer the phone. So those people probably do have it quite hard. And I really do feel for them. But I think I'm a bit luckier. I do have that flexibility that as long as my work gets done and on time and well, then it's okay. But obviously, don't take the mickey. That's kind of where I think.
And here's the thing, all right, and it's hard because, like I said, there is the perception that people are not working, right? But there's a difference between someone who, as you said, like you're at home because you have a delivery that day, so you normally aren't there. But here's the thing, what people who, like I see Kurt's comment where he says that these people are usually not working. Here's the thing, if you are working from home on a regular basis, number one, you're going to get bored. There's only so much relaxing you're going to do. You're going to at some point be like, well, I might as well work. Even the laziest person is going to they're going to do something. And if they don't, they're going to end up getting fired. Just like if you were in the office and you weren't ever doing any work, your boss is going to eventually say, hey, where's that report I asked for? Okay, I don't have it. You can only come up with excuses for so long before they finally just let you go. And the other thing that I would say about that is that there's a huge amount of wasted time when you're in the office that is not work related. It is related to building community, and I'm in team building. And I believe that there has to be some aspect of it, right? But just think about it. Every time you go into, so there's a break room where I work. Every time I walk into that break room, I'm not doing my primary job task, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not doing my primary job task. I'm in there, I'm making coffee, I'm doing whatever. So if you add up all those minutes, right, and say, well, at home, if I wanted to get something to drink, I go in the kitchen, especially if my daughter's not home. I get up, go in the kitchen, get something to drink, go back to the office, right? I'm not stopping to talk to Stan from the mailroom for 5 minutes about what he did over the weekend.
Absolutely.
So the water cooler talk goes away. We're not getting interrupted because it's so-and-so's birthday and we all got to go into the employee break room to sing, right?
Yep.
All of those things. And I'll say too, I was in the military, all right? So I'm going to push back. I was in the military, and yes, we did a lot of stuff, but I'm going to tell you right now, by afternoon chow, we're finding places to hide. Okay, I'm saying that because we have people who are from the military and we're contrasting like the civilians with the military. Yeah. I'm like, look, let's be realistic. Afternoon chow, you're not doing much. And part of it is because you wake up so early.
Yeah,
so you actually get a lot of stuff done. And then I remember I was in charge of an artillery cannon crew, and my thing was always, look, if I see you, I'm going to give you something to do. So my guys would disappear. And the reason I said that is because the platoon sergeant said, if I see you, I'm going to give you something to do, and I'm going to give your guys something to do. And I know that, that's one of those things. It's like you don't work. Human beings are not designed to be able to work continuously. You're going to stop. Okay. I mean, yeah, so that's just not it. Now Kurt is in the Air Force. All right, he said maybe that's just because I was a Marine. I'm just gonna point out that you say what you want to say, but hold up the Marine Corps' combat record against the Air Forces. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm saying that, that's all I'm gonna say. And in fact, the whole reason, you know what, Kurt, I'm going to go back. The only reason why the Air Force gets mad is because the Marine Corps can literally go start a war at any time without the help of any of the other services. Whereas the Air Force, you kind of need the Army to really be effective. Anyway, moving on. He says, I was assigned to a Marine platoon. Anyway, so you do have a request. People want to see you shred on your guitar. Can you actually play? Yeah, go ahead. Can you actually play the guitar, or there's just wall decorations?
No, I can actually play, but it's probably I don't shred. I'm not a shredder. I'm power chords, pop punk, Blink-182, Green Day, that kind of stuff.
Okay,
that's what I do.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Claire is not going to do that here. Instead, what you need to do is follow at Garage Gym PT on Instagram and she will do a guitar solo. I don't know if she's going to go live, but she'll do some of that on her Instagram, and you guys can check it out there. So go follow at
There's a
Garage
video
GTT on
of me
Instagram.
doing there's a video of me doing the intro to The Kids Aren't Alright by The Offspring on there already. It's kind of something I'll do, like if I'm trying to like not have a snack, if I'm craving like a chocolate biscuit or some chocolate or
you just
some
play the
crisps
guitar.
or whatever, I just play a bit of guitar and
Nice.
take my mind off it.
Nice. All right, so I'm actually going to show right here. This is a clip from your Instagram. Right there. Share that. All right, so this is you, and you said you're doing this to combat the fact that you sit all day. You said you still try to get into your 7,000 to 9,000 steps a day, but you still develop knee pain, probably because your IT band got short and, you know, other things. But do you find that doing stuff like this, I know it makes you more productive just in terms of giving you ideas, but what about the fact that you're going to get uncomfortable if you just sit? If you just sit all day, you get uncomfortable, and that can be a distraction in terms of working.
Yeah, sorry. So like when I sit all day, I try and break it up. I don't want to sit really for more than an hour, because it's kind of like I seize up, my hips seize up, and it aches, and I think, right, I need to just move. And even if it's just getting up from my desk and doing 20, 30 body weight squats, that kind of releases things a bit. And just, you know, I've done some squats, I feel a bit better, and it kind of negates the being sat down for so long. Or one thing I do is I'll go up and down the stairs all the time when I want to fill up my glass of water, so that I'm going up and down the stairs and I'm trying to help get in steps from within the house, rather than having to go out the house, you know, for a walk, you know, or something in the gym. So it's I'm kind of actively, especially when I've got busy days and I'm stuck at my desk a lot, I'm more aware of trying to increase my just my activity. So not necessarily specifically a dedicated workout, just moving makes so much difference.
What do you think of, I call them movement snacks, where you just get up and you do 5 minutes of activity?
Yeah.
And
Brilliant.
that's even if you have a home gym. So that's one of the things my wife does, because she doesn't feel comfortable doing like the full hour at work. So she'll get up and maybe go in our home gym. It's right on the other side of the wall. She'll just get up, go in there.
Perfect.
5 minutes, do something, even something as simple as, okay, my back is tight, I'm going to stretch. She'll go into the gym and stretch in there instead of in the office. You have to figure out, well, what can I grab or whatever. There's a gym right on the other side of the wall. She gets up, goes in there, stretches, and gets the blood flowing, and then turns around, goes back into her office. What do you think of movement snacks?
I think that's absolutely brilliant. I can't remember the source, but I think you may have heard it, as others probably have as well. They're touting sitting as for a long period of time as the new smoking. And, I used to think, okay, well, I have a desk job, I sit most of the day, but, I work out 3 or 4 times a week, lift weights. I thought, yeah, I should be all right. And then you hear in the news, oh, even if you work out, and exercise 3 or 4 times a week, it's really not going to combat the sitting for so long. So that's where the steps and the daily movement come in. So when people are sat at their desk, I mean, obviously I appreciate it's probably a little harder in the office, but what I used to do is, when I was in the office and I was sitting for a long time, I'd go to the toilets the furthest away from my desk. So I got more of a walk in, or you just go up and down the stairs once or twice. And at home, I like we just said, I'll just get out of my chair, do 20 squats. Sometimes if I'm feeling particularly energetic, I'll go up and down the stairs 10 times. Now, if you kind of think, oh, that's not too bad, but I challenge anybody to try it and then see how your legs feel at about 7 or 8 times up the stairs. It takes it out of you and it gets your heart rate up, and it just makes you feel amazing. It doesn't really take that long at all. So movement snacks like that, or going in the gym if you have it. I've got a punch bag in my gym as well. I'll just go and hit that for like 5 minutes. Absolutely brilliant. It just takes your mind off of whatever is stressing you out at work. It gets your body moving, gets your heart rate up. Perfect. Brilliant. Encourage everybody to keep doing it if they can.
I can just picture you hitting your punching bag, because you're mad at Stan from
Oh, yeah.
finance.
It has happened.
Approve my paperwork. So
Yeah.
let's go into the chat. We have a couple of comments there. So first of all, we have several comments that say shred. All right. Carlos wants you to play some Pink Floyd.
I don't know any.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Play it on your Instagram. Number one, that doesn't get me a copyright strike for you playing music on my stream. But number two, it brings people to your Instagram. So go learn some Pink Floyd and then play it. Because, there you go. And so the next time you need a snack, you want to eat like some chocolate cake. No, Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd.
All right?
Okay.
So there you go.
All
right.
Any particular song? I want to.
That's a good question. All right.
Hear?
So Pink Floyd, what's your recommendation, Carlos, for Pink Floyd for Claire? And while you're thinking of that, I'm going to go ahead. And Carlos said he just followed you. So you just got a new follower. See, I'm telling you, they want to see you play. Carlos says he drives for a living. So between pickups and deliveries, he runs in place. And then he also said that stairs will get you because that's a burn. Okay, so his song recommendation is Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd.
Okay. I'll write that down. I'll have a little look.
Is Pink Floyd the one that sings Is It Beautiful Tonight? No, I'm asking in the guys. Is it yeah, I think he is the one. Anyway, but that's another good one. All right. Let's see. Eric Echo says, how can you have pudding if you don't eat your meat? I don't know what that means, but it sounds provocative. Let's see here. Then, okay, that's it. All right. Yeah, more shred.
Okay. Yeah. Noted.
All right. So we were talking about the movement stacks and all that, but I've also heard people say that one other strategy is, at least here in the States, again, this is good for me because cultural mores are different depending on your country. So here in the States, there's a big push for therapy, for people to not just bottle everything up, find someone to talk to, especially if you're starting to feel stressed. And so, or even if you're struggling with work-life balance. And so I've heard some people say that they tell their clients to not say, hey, I'm taking an hour lunch break to go work out. Instead, they say that you're taking an hour because you have a therapy session. And don't go into it. Just say, hey, I got a therapy session. So obviously your job doesn't require you to go through all of that. But what's the attitude towards therapy in general in the UK? Because would that even work? Or would they say, what's wrong with you? What do you mean therapy?
I think that's a really good idea. I think over here in the UK, again, it's very dependent on the company that you work for and what kind of benefits they offer you. Some big companies will provide an employee assistance program, which actually comes with telephone therapy that you could do. And a lot of big corporates.
Telephone therapy. You mean like where they you call in or something?
Yeah.
Oh, so you have a phone call? Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Be like it's not like you might have phone calls say 3 times and they may be sort of 10-15 minutes. It's not like an hour or such, but it's someone you can talk to confidentially and try and get
I know what you're talking about.
Your chest. Yeah.
I just confirm. Okay.
But I think a lot of big corporates are pushing for being aware of mental health, helping employees with their mental health, work-life balance. So they're very pro looking after you in that respect. And I think, again, it depends on your company, but I think if your preferred method of therapy would be going to the gym and that really helps you, then talk to your boss and explain it. And I would say that, I wouldn't have any problem doing that. I think, having a blocking out an hour, which would otherwise have been my lunch break, and just calling it therapy or PT, whatever. Just go and do it. I think it's a positive thing because everybody's probably heard, exercise is one of the most underutilized antidepressants out there. And I think that more people should definitely be doing it, but it has to be something you enjoy. Otherwise, people just view it as a chore and then they don't do it.
Yeah, 100%. So All right. To show you I'm not a Pink, like I believe Pink Floyd is a great artist, but obviously I'm not a fan because I had no idea that comment from Eric was related to a Pink Floyd song. It's from The Wall. All right. It's from a Pink Floyd song. And so there you go. And now Kurt is saying I'm reconsidering the butterfly thing as Mecha Battle Butterfly. I'm not dressing up as a I'm not dressing up as a butterfly anywhere. And I'm definitely not going to Jackson, Wyoming. Now, if they're going to live stream this event, I will commit to turning it on for the length of time it takes for me to brush my teeth. And I'll watch it there. Okay, and then I'm done. That's all I can commit to. Kurt says, though, that you are bringing up some amazing points. So that's really cool. Just from your personal experience, as we start to wrap this up, what have been the things that have made you the most successful in general as someone who has a home gym and who works from home as well? Some general best practices.
Okay, so that's a really good question, because even though I have a gym in my house, sometimes walking down the stairs and opening the door to it can be the hardest thing to do. Sometimes you don't want to go. It's like getting in the car and going to your gym. That's really difficult. But one thing I always think about is setting the conditions to be able to get that workout in. So, for example, I work from home. I don't need to be in corporate business clothes. So I tend to live in joggers and a hoodie, which is very lovely, comfortable clothing. So it's not what I work out in. So if I know, first thing, I plan my workout. So I generally know what days I need to work out. So say it's 3 or 4 days a week. So like a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday. That's my first recommendation, is get it planned in so you know when you need to do it. And you can plan other things that crop up around that, because you need to prioritize yourself and your physical fitness. So when you've got that sorted, another thing is so it's all very well saying I'm going to work out Monday, but then if I stay in my joggers and hoodie, shut my laptop down, it's easy for me to go downstairs and start doing chores, making lunches for the next day, stuff like that. And then before you know it, it's like 6:30. Oh, it's a bit late to work out now. I need to start doing dinner. No, what I do is before I finish work, I'll go and get changed into my workout gear, which in the morning I will have probably laid out on the bed so that I know that it's there. I need to get changed into it. So if I get changed into my workout gear at say 4 o'clock in the afternoon, half the battle is done. I'm in my workout gear. I'm ready to go. So then as soon as I shut down that laptop, make sure my daughter's all right and she's okay, grab a drink, get in the gym. So I can shut my laptop down at like 5:30 and I can be in the gym by 5:40. That has probably been one of the biggest things to help me prioritize getting my workouts in. Or sometimes even in the morning, I'll just get in my workout gear, spend the whole day in it, and then it's easy, it's done. That's a huge benefit. But obviously I appreciate that is a bit of a luxury for somebody who works from home and has a gym at home. But I'd also argue if you work from home and you go to a commercial gym that you have to drive to, if you've got your workout gear on before you even finish work, it's already set in your mind to say, right, okay, yeah, it's a non-negotiable. I have to get in the car and go to the gym. That's probably my biggest thing.
100%. I mean, it's like I remember when I played football, American football, obviously, for 1 year. And that season, I remember just like the act of putting on the uniform started changing my mindset.
Yeah.
And putting on the helmet was like the final thing. It was like, okay, time to go to work, you know?
Yeah.
And the same thing when I was fighting. I used to compete in kickboxing. And I remember the act of taping your hands starts to change. You know, first you wrap your hands, then you get them taped. And that starts to it makes your brain shift over. And so I think the same thing. And then, so I have shirts that we sell, and each one is created specifically for basically what I'm working out that day. So if anybody's ever wondered like why, so like this one says normal people die easier. Okay, normal people die easier. I made that because my back was sore one day, and I told myself, but it's deadlift day, so I still need to train. You know, I mean, I modified the weight and the style of deadlift I was doing, but the normal person would go lay on the couch. I said, yeah, well, normal people die when there's a crisis, right? So I get it. Like you put on your clothes, especially if it's like a shirt that's motivational, has something motivational on it. Now you're ready to go, you know, for whatever. Because we got some comments in here. First of all, Kurt says, I'm never going to be a butterfly with that attitude. He wants me to go through my metamorphosis. I am not sorry to disappoint you. I'm just going to do it. No. All right. But then it said, getting started can be the hardest part. That's from Carlos. And Kurt says, make a plan you're invested in, maintain scheduling flexibility, show yourself some grace, and change into workout gear to help hold yourself accountable. Just kind of summarizing what you said, because those were some fantastic points there. And my workout gear is not going to include butterfly wings with a machine gun attached somehow. Not happening. That's not happening. I respect your efforts to get me to dress up as a butterfly, but they were going to fail.
Just one more point on the trying to program in your your workouts and stuff throughout the week. Yeah. I think so many people who are new to fitness and they think maybe they've got to like, you know, mid 40s, you know, late 30s, early 40s or something. And they're thinking, I really need to start sorting out my fitness. They go full hog into like 5-6 days a week, you know, hours in the gym, hours of cardio. They keep it up for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then they're like, I can't do this. And then they go back to nothing. I think it's being easy on yourself and giving yourself grace that somebody mentioned in the comments. I think that's so true. And I think it's better to start off with, say, 2 20-minute workouts a week that you know you can do. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, you're like, hey, I've smashed working out twice a week for 3 weeks. And I never have before. Then you start to get more into it. You enjoy it more. And then you build up longer workouts. Maybe you add in another day. And I think it's starting off slowly rather than going, you know, guns blazing. I think so many people make that mistake to go full hog straight away. So what I'm trying to say is basically, if you haven't worked out and you're thinking of starting to, take your time and do something that you know realistically you can get done within a week. That's probably another really good thing that I try and tell a lot of people.
You know, to piggyback off of that, I also say, you know, I believe in basically 70%, 70 to 80%. And what I mean by that is people, especially beginners, believe that every workout has to be a meeting with death. You know, like it's got to be like this thing where you're questioning your life choices the entire time. Yeah. And I say, you know, there is a place for that, but every training session can't be, you know, something for soul searching. You know, there got to be some workouts that I don't dread, or else it's going to be tough for me to do it. Yeah. You know, and I mean, I'm a fairly mentally tough person. I've done enough stuff where I know I'm mentally tough, but I don't live in that zone. Instead, Faraz Wahhabi, who's George St. Pierre's martial arts coach, said that basically you want to do 80% all the time. Most of the time, he said, and then occasionally you do a workout where you're going 100%. Number one, if you're always going 100% or even 95%, you're more likely to get injured and then miss time from training because you push too hard and you hurt yourself. So, but if you go 80%, you're going to be more likely, 70, 80%, you're going to be more likely to be able to hit all of your training sessions that year. And so your volume of training is going to be a lot greater than somebody who goes out and crushes themselves, you know, on Monday, and now they can't work out again until Thursday. Right. So but if I go in and I do 70, 80%, I can work out multiple times that week. And also, again, we're talking about people who work from home, trying to get a workout during the day or something like that. What's your motivation level going to be to stop working if you know you're about to hit a max set of 20 rep squats at the most you can handle? You know what I mean? You'll be like, well, I really got to get this report done. Occasionally, yes. And if the stress is there, you need to use it as a stress reliever. Yes, but all of the time, no. And that's one of the things that people who I think who are newer to training don't quite get. That we're not killing ourselves all the time. Instead, we're building like the CrossFitters say, you're building your engine. Well, I'm slowly but surely raising my capacity so that when I need to go hard, I can, but I don't have to go hard to do even small things, even simple things, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it kind of lends to that quote. I think Nick Bear says it a lot. Focus on being consistently good rather than occasionally great. Exactly.
100%. So Jonathan from No Fate 24/7 channel is checking in. Always good having Jonathan here. And Kurt said, Ashley says Army Airborne all the way. She jumped out of airplanes. The plane was still working.
Wow.
Okay, the plane was still working, but she of her own free will jumped right out. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. Nothing but respect. And actually, absolutely. I tease Kurt, and I recognize that he looks up to me. And he's got a poster of me on his wall somewhere. But and I know because I signed it. But I really do respect what he does. He's EOD, and anybody that willingly works with explosives, that dude's he's tougher than me.
Absolutely.
I'll say that. Yeah. But he says, I so agree. People don't need to treat their training like it's Spinal Tap. Like these go to 11. It doesn't need to crush you. So we're gonna let you get out of here, Claire. But before we do that, we're gonna do two things. The first thing is I'm gonna show people that boom, Claire actually does play the guitar. And as you said, instead of raiding the cupboard, you can find something else to do. And so what she does is she challenges her snack craving by giving herself something to do. Because sometimes there is an element of snack craving that's because of boredom. It's just boredom. Yep. The only reason you're doing it is because of boredom. So there's that. But then Claire, let people know how they can get in touch with you. If it's through your Instagram. I know you have a link tree on your Instagram. So let people know how they can get in touch with you if they want to sign up for training, if they just have a question, just how can they reach out to you if they want to talk to you?
Best way is the Instagram. So it's there on the screen, Garage Gym PT. Yeah, that's the best way to get hold of me. DM, right. Happy to answer any questions, help, whatever, not a problem.
Awesome. That is outstanding. All right. So you guys want to follow Claire right there at Garage Gym PT on Instagram. And I really appreciate you for being here, Claire. It was awesome.
Right. Thank you for having me, John.
Oh no, this was fun. I hope you'll come back. And the next time you have let me know next time you have a holiday, and we can get you on here because I really do enjoy getting perspectives from people who are in other countries, because sometimes you guys, we've solved problems that you guys haven't thought about, but you also have solved problems that we haven't thought about, and that cross-cultural communication I think is tremendous. And then together, maybe we can help the Canadians fix their bacon. I don't know why it's shaped like that. So there's that. I don't know where they went wrong. All right. Everyone knows bacon comes in strips. Anyway, but yeah, thank you for being here, and you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too, John. Thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, take it easy.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so that was Claire Jones from the Garage Gym PT Instagram account. Like I said, one of the things I really love doing with this channel and with my Instagram as well, it started with my Instagram, but I've tried to continue it here on YouTube, is to connect people with resources. And sometimes those resources include following accounts that may not be, let's say, popular. Is not necessarily like the person with the 1 gazillion Instagram followers. It's the person who's got the information you need in order to make yourself successful at whatever your goal is. And so I feel like that's one of my missions, is to find those people. It's my job to go out and look for those people, look for those resources, bring those resources to your attention, tell you and help you see why they're important potentially for you. And because you're not necessarily going to get that from channels that just focus on finding the popular guest and bringing them on, because that's going to help their algorithm. It's going to help their traffic. It's going to help them get more subscribers. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want subscribers. I want to grow. I want all of that. but I feel like it is in line with my purpose to connect you with people who help you with your purpose, whether those people are popular already or not. And I think it's especially even more important if they're not somebody who is already on your radar. So that was one reason why I brought Claire on. So let's see. Ashley's great to listen to Claire. Andrew Towers from GoRx has jumped in here. Always having you in here. Great having you in here, Andrew. He says, great interview. That's right. All right. So let's move back into our news segments. We've got a few minutes before Greg Santarsiero joins us from G Code Nutrition. And so I'll go ahead and we'll go back to the rundown. So we already talked about the Aries. I'm curious if anyone knows already, go ahead and put it in the chat. Do you guys know if Rep's going to have the Aries at HomeGymCon, the 2.0? I know they're having a bunch of stuff, and a lot of companies are debuting stuff that they haven't debuted yet at HomeGymCon. So that's just another reason to go. I will say that if they do have it, I will make every effort. I got a lot of moving parts that weekend, but I will make every effort to get over to there and get an interview with, I'll probably try to get Adam to kind of go into the Aries a little bit, talk about all the stuff that's new, all the innovation. So if anybody's in the chat and they know whether Rep Fitness is going to be at HomeGymCon, please put it in the chat and let me know. But like I said, regardless, if they are at HomeGymCon, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there, obviously, and I'm going to swing by and try to get an interview with them to kind of do a deep dive into the Aries 2.0. So Eric said he was told he will be there. I thought that they were going to be there. I thought I saw something, but I wasn't 100% sure. English, 100% sure. So I didn't want to like make that claim, and then it turns out that it wasn't. That it's not true. All right, so another bit of ridiculous news. This just in. People say, well, why should you have a home gym? Well, apparently dumbbells at a public gym have more germs than toilet seats. And I didn't make that up. That's from fitrated.com. They said they gather bacteria samples. This should get your attention, Ashley, because you're into testing and studies and whatnot. FitRated says they gathered bacteria samples from 27 different pieces of equipment at 3 different gyms to get an idea of how many germs you may encounter when you touch a treadmill, exercise bike, or a free weight. Okay, get rid of that. I just saw an Oxford comma in that quote, and I can't abide those, so I got rid of it. All right, a free weight. And it turns out that the average treadmill, exercise bike, free weight are all teeming with germs. I mean, but who didn't know that? Okay, but the volume of it is amazing. It says it's more than 1 million per square inch a piece. They said the exercise bikes and the free weight samples also turned up bacillus, which is a potential cause of various conditions, including ear, eye, and respiratory infections. And then the full article is at fitrated.com. I've got the link in the description for this video, but just think about it like you can catch pink eye. That's just the most benign example I can think of. You catch pink eye from going to a public gym because people have pink eye, they rub their eye, they touch the dumbbell, and right there, bam, they just give you a nice little parting gift. So and Eric Eccles says that's why people who go to public gyms have better immune systems because they're constantly fighting it. No, that sounds like what my wife says to me about people in New York having stronger immune systems because they eat from those hot dog vendors. And, there's no telling how many germs are on the stuff when you go to a little sidewalk cart hot dog vendor. Yeah, I hear all that. I also say that your immune system is always depressed because you're walking around with a latent infection at all times. So your body can't recover from your training because it's trying to fight off, the dang, the flu virus or whatever. And that's not even talking about COVID. And this was actually a study from before COVID. So it is probably worse now that we've got the coronavirus is a thing. So I'm just saying, no. And I worked in 3 different public gyms, and we were constantly spraying down the machines with basically like a bleach substance. And the reason we were doing it is because the people who were using the machines didn't do it. So you see the little towel, right? And they have like, they're supposed to have a towel that's by the machine. But just think of how many people are grabbing that towel, spraying it with the bleach and wiping it down, and they put it back. So their funk is on their hands and then it's on the towel. That's just an imperfect solution. And then you get the local college student who really doesn't care. He's just there trying to make minimum wage. And so he can pay for his books or whatever. So he could care less if you actually, you know, if you get sick or not, because they already got your money with the gym membership. They don't care if you actually, they don't want you to show up because they sign up more people than they can actually handle in terms of their capacity. And I can say that with 100% confidence because that's what it was like at the gym, the gyms where I work. You sign up more people than you could actually support because you know some of them aren't going to show up. And if you only sign up as many people as you could actually have training at the same time, you wouldn't make enough money to cover expenses and the salaries and all that. So they don't care if you don't show up. All right. So if you get sick and don't show up, they don't care. Now, that being said, I don't think that you need to be a hermit in a cave and always at home all the time. I do agree that you need to go into, you know, you need to go into the public at some point. You know, there's no need to be in a bubble, but that's just something else that I noticed as far as having a home gym. Now, I got my next topic, and that's right. It is time for one of your favorite segments, or at least it's mine, and that is, it's time for the Recliner of Rage. It's the Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage, 'cause he's not happy.
Shout out to the Mountain Time Zone. It is time for Recliner of Rage, and I am not happy once again because once again, another fitness-related product has betrayed me. Today's Recliner of Rage is brought to you by the Visp. The Visp. I know you're saying, what's that? Visp is Norwegian for whisk, right? And so basically, picture a shaker bottle that has one of those frothers inside it. So we did a review of the Visp on the YouTube channel. My wife and I really liked it. And I was this close to ordering another one. And I'm so glad I didn't because my wife, I was going downstairs and I said something to my wife and she's like, yeah, the Visp isn't working. I said, what do you mean the Visp isn't working? I got like emotionally, immediately I went from 0 to 100. What do you mean the Visp isn't working? Because like I said, I was just about to order one. And she said, it just stopped working. It's the battery's fully charged. I haven't washed it in the, it's supposed to be dishwasher safe, but she doesn't trust that. So she's been washing it by hand anyway. So it hasn't gone through like the agitator. So you can't say the motor was damaged in the dishwasher. And it's just not working. What irritates me about that is not only am I irritated because it's not working, so it's not available, and we paid for that, right? They didn't send it to us to do the review. That's one of the products that I saw. I was like, oh, that kind of looks cool. Sometimes I see stuff and I just think it looks cool and I want to check it out, and then I'll do a review about it. So we ordered it, paid full price, and got it here. And we're like, oh, yeah, this is a cool product. It replaces multiple different things because now I don't have to have the frother and the shaker bottle. No, it's all in one. And it's nice and quiet. So in my head, the reason why I was going to order one is because I could have it right here on my desk mixing up something, you know, some tea or whatever during the podcast, and you guys wouldn't hear it because it's so quiet. So I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. This is a no-brainer. If I need to refresh I put some more Vice in my shaker. Not like I need more, but let's say I put some more Vice and throw it in the Visp instead of me doing that right there, and you hear that. Instead, the Visp is mixing it up, is nice and quiet. And then the Visp stopped working. So I see the thing every time I go in the kitchen, I see it, and I want to fight an inanimate object because it has betrayed me, and that's my reaction to betrayal, violence, okay? I'm just telling you, I don't understand why you're doing to me this thing when I treated you so good. We hand washed you. We took care of you. We talked good about you to our friends, and now you stopped working. So The only thing that has stopped me from completely losing it and launching it like a Hail Mary out the window is that I'm going to reach out to the company and ask them if this is a common problem and if they have a solution for it. But I'm telling you right now, I am fully prepared. I was in artillery. We've covered that earlier. I'm fully prepared to launch that thing at Saturn like a rocket if that thing continues to betray me in that fashion, because I don't have patience for technology that doesn't work. I want things to do the thing they're supposed to do, the thing they promised to do when you looked on a website and it made you all these fantastic promises and everybody was smiling in the Instagram commercial. I wanted to do that because I want to smile like I'm in an Instagram commercial all day. And that's why I'm in the Recliner of Rage today. It's the Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage, 'cause he's not happy.
Once again, shout out to the worship team from Activation Church. Everybody you saw in that video is a home gym owner, and they were good enough to join in my shenanigans. I am, as you know, shenanigans coordinator. So they joined in with me. I said, hey, let's shoot a video that's ridiculous. It's all right, let's do it. And so that was really cool. But now we have another guest. Here we go. My guy, the man himself, the legend, if you will, Greg Santarsiero. Show your love.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Man, I'm good. Hey, first of all.
Wait, what was that? Hold on. I caught the back end of that rant. What was the technology that let you down?
See, Greg, you're playing with my emotions, all right? You come in here with your melodious voice trying to tamper with my emotions.
No, dude, some technologies are better off analog than digital,
Look,
you know?
Yeah. So it's a Visp, man. We got a
okay.
It's a shaker bottle.
Okay.
But you don't have to shake it. It's got a
blender.
It's kind of like So it's like the Volt RX that some people have seen, but it's got a frother. You know, like the frother.
Sure.
Got it embedded in that, and so you stick it in there. You put whatever your ingredients are, close it up, and then you turn it on, and it's very quiet. That's the other reason we liked it. It's very, very quiet. Like you literally, if I had it here on the desk and I was using it, you would not hear it because Naomi, my wife, Naomi, uses hers when she's in meetings because as we were saying in the last segment, we're talking to Claire and we're talking about, you know, if you're a remote worker and you have a home gym, you're trying to maintain your fitness. One of the things Naomi does is she'll have her pre-workout in the Visp and she'll, you know, turn it on. So then she's like, okay, well, the meeting's winding down. It should be done at this time or whatever. So she mixes it up at that point.
Sure.
Obviously, she can't be listening to the director like, you know, like that, you know. Yeah. So so that's something that we were happy about. And then it just stopped working for no reason. Right. Well, I mean, okay, everything has a reason, but I'm not going to give it a good reason until further investigation. All I know is pay good money for it. It stopped doing what it promised to do on the website. Right. Website says it does this. I take that as a promise. In exchange for me believing in your promise, I'm ordering your product. And I expect it to continue to do what you promised it was going to do longer than after the 30-day period is over. So
Understood.
That's how I got into the recliner. I was coming out. I was happy to see you. I was climbing out of the Recliner of Rage, and you took me back there.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to know. I want, you know, I'm like I said, I'm a little old school with certain technologies, and I haven't you know, upgraded to the, I don't know, the Roomba version of a shaker cup. Or whatever. So
Roomba, look at that. He's like the Roomba version of this.
Right? Shaker Roomba.
Hey, I don't have a Roomba, but I am fully on board with having something else do the vacuuming.
I saw a Roomba in action yesterday at my brother-in-law's, and I was like, wow, this is luxury.
Man, look, I don't necessarily need it for the whole house.
Running around the house.
I don't need it for the whole house, but so this is a little bit of inside baseball, but given our audience, I think they'll like it. So I had so in my gym, I got a power rack that I'm Frankensteining, and I had to do some drilling into the rack to make some monolift attachments work. Cool. And so of course I got metal shavings all over the place, right? Sure. And if you've never tried to get metal shavings out of stall mats, it is the most.
I'm sure.
It's horrible because you're there I've been sweeping this for days, trying to sweep all these shavings. I like to train barefoot, so I'm trying to sweep all these shavings out. But sure enough, I keep finding more. I haven't poked myself in the foot yet, but I mean, I keep finding more.
Sure.
I've even taken the my leaf blower. That's what's going to happen today. The leaf blower is going to get put into action, and I'm going to try to just blow all the shavings out the door and let the squirrels eat it if necessary. Because
put some kind of goggles on or something.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't.
The metal shot. I mean, no, listen. I know you're a rugged.
No, I'm just saying. I don't mind that. I'm just saying. I don't even know if it's gonna.
I don't want any metal. No metal. Yeah, I don't want any metal shards in your eyeballs. You know what I mean?
I don't want that. Look, here we go. I knew here comes the bougie comment. Carlos is like, Carlos is a techie guy, right? I love my robot. It cleans my apartment 3 days a week. So Carlos is living that Jetsons lifestyle, okay?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, I'm blown away by some of this stuff. It like sometimes you see things that feel like life sometimes feels like one big infomercial. Yeah. And you wonder if people are actually incorporating these technologies in their lives, and they are. Like I said, I saw a Roomba in action just kind of robotically walking around my brother-in-law's house yesterday. I was like, wow, people do these things.
I like it. So to go on with my point, I would love it for my gym.
Sure.
Because I haven't used one, but if it's the sort of thing you can kind of set and forget, that would be really cool, especially like chalk. I don't get a lot of chalk on the floor, but it'd be cool if I can turn it on, get done working out, turn it on, and then just go upstairs to take a shower and then come back upstairs and it's done a lot of the work.
Yeah, no, of course.
That would be something that would be really cool.
No, yeah, man, it's like
the time.
You saying set it and forget it is right, because it's like you think about like how valuable like a crock pot can be. Like crock pots are amazing. One of the reasons because you can, theoretically create really delicious, nutrient-dense food without having to pay too much attention to it, right? It's happening in the background of your life. So I get it. No, there's tremendous value there for sure.
100%. And so that's my plan for now you guys got me thinking about it. We may need to invest in a Roomba or a Shark or whatever for a Garage Gym Life employee fitness.
There you go. There you go.
And Carlos says, yes, you said it, forget it. He says it cleans while he's at work.
Yeah, sure.
This is legendary. We're going to do some more research into this topic here. I told you guys that Greg will talk about anything with you, all right? You notice we haven't mentioned supplements at all. We got him on the Roomba tangent.
I'm sure we'll get around to it. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get around to it.
Because now you got me thinking about how, like, in the commercials, the cat's chasing it. Like the cat and the Roomba going at it. That's all I'm. And then I'm also thinking about Wall-E, how like the people got overweight because the robots were doing all the work. So yeah, let's okay. We're gonna reel it back in. All right. So the topic of today is, look at this product placement, the Vice Tri-Chamber. All right. Whoa, look at that! Hey, your tri-chamber looks like my tri-chamber. Right.
That's good quality control. I hope so.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. First of all, give people just like a quick breakdown, especially for people who are listening while they're driving and who are not able to see what we're talking about. So go ahead and give them a breakdown of the thought process behind the tri-chamber real quick.
Okay, sure. So the tri-chamber is a patent pending container that we created custom with the idea in mind, going back to our original roots as a supplement company back to before we launched our brand in 2017 when we first came out with our first product, our pre-workout Vice. We did so in what was called a tri-pack, which was essentially 3 units, 3 traditional small sort of squat stout pre-workout type sized units. 3 of them with 3 different flavors shrink wrapped together in a single unit, and that was what you would purchase. And that evolved into the tri-chamber, which is this container here that John was also showing you, that provides 3 different compartments in one single unit. So you're able to get 3 different flavors of your pre-workout in a single container, with the idea being that something that, we sort of noticed over the years, observed as consumers ourselves and looking at the marketplace, is that people will find products that they feel are very effective, feel strongly about them, perform well on them, enjoy them, but will still stray from that specific effective product because they want to try a new flavor. So we call that flavor fatigue, and we wanted to come up with a solution to fight flavor fatigue, and the Tri Chamber was that for us. We did a test run of them a few years back, and then we launched them formally at day one of the Arnold Classic this past year with our new formula, our like more heavy hitter pre-workout formula, Vice Triple X, and it's been really successful so far. We're super proud of it, super excited about it, and are putting a lot of sort of eggs in that basket in terms of helping our company reach a broader audience. We feel like it's a real point of differentiation and innovation in an industry that doesn't have a lot of that.
Oh yeah, because it's kind of like the NFL. It's like, hey, I see what's successful, and I'm just gonna do that.
Right. Sure.
And I understand because if I'm responsible for multiple employees, I don't mind experimenting a little bit.
Sure.
But I'm not going to experiment a lot because I've got people's livelihoods, depending on me making good, sound decisions. But at the same time, I was actually looking at something the other day where it was saying that basically there's two ways that companies can be successful. One is that they innovate and they create, they do something, they take something that's never been done and they do it better than it's ever been done before, right?
Sure.
And so for example, it's a Mercedes. Well, next year we're going to add more features to the Mercedes, and we can continue to raise the price, because that thing is now, I can say, hey, it does more this year than it did last year, so you should pay me more money. And then the other approach is to say, okay, well, I'm not going to even do that. I'm going to do something completely different.
Sure.
But now I have to kind of wonder whether people are actually going to buy into it. But it's that innovation that drives the market forward. And so they said, for example, this kind of goes with something else that I was going to talk about later on in the show. Is like, so Google is at war with ChatGPT. So you have, so Google is suppressing websites that use a lot of AI content. Because if you think about it, Google is a search engine, and Google put all of their money, most of their money, into search in terms of like how they make money. ChatGPT is a search engine that in a way can do away with Google to a certain extent. So you find that there is because Google just kept on saying, well, we're going to search better. We're beating Bing, we're beating Yahoo. Well, when ChatGPT came along with a completely different idea, Google is like, whoa, wait, what do we do here? And that is how you end up with market disruption. So it seems to me that is what your Tri Chamber does. It's like you're bringing this product that nobody thought about, the idea of just having 3 different flavors in the same container. And I was going to ask you, like, what's been the response to it? But you said people have been pretty much open to the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that everyone, it's either like you're presenting a new idea to some people where it just hadn't occurred to them before, and then they reflect back on their own experiences and they think, oh wow, it would be nice to have, if I find a product that I find to be particularly effective, it would be nice to have options from day to day and some variety from day to day in terms of flavor. So it's either people who kind of respond like, oh man, I've been looking for this forever, but I didn't know I was looking for it, or I've needed this for a long time, but I didn't know I needed it. It's either a response along those lines, or it's just people intrigued because it's something that they hadn't seen before. And the truth of the matter too, right, is that conceptually it's not revolutionary, right? It's just that it's
well, hold on. One thing I say about it, you say it's not revolutionary, but typically when someone wants to get a different flavor of something, sometimes they have to go to a competitor product. So now the efficacy of the product may not be the same. So I love this flavor, but I need to use 4 scoops of this flavor from this brand versus 2 scoops of a different flavor I might like as well, but I'm just in the mood for this other flavor today. Now I know I gotta, but my dosing may have to change a little bit. And I see your question, Kurt. We're gonna jump on Kurt's question in a second, but go ahead, finish what you were saying before I cut you off.
No, you're right. Just the thought that, like, so it's not that it's necessarily revolutionary from a technological standpoint, right? It's just the fact that, and along the lines of what you were saying prior, right, is that like one of the ways to differentiate yourself is to innovate, and the thought being that, right, you have like sort of three choices, right? You can be greater than, less than, or different than, right? And in some ways, from a standards standpoint, we want ourselves always and aspire always to be greater than. Obviously, none of us want to be less than. But when we're talking about massive corporations, massive companies, you know, legacy brands that have been around decades, companies that are bankrolled by larger, bigger parent companies and whatnot. In some instances, it's very difficult to be greater than just from a budgetary standpoint. So it's like, okay, so then how can you stand apart? How can you differentiate yourself in an industry that, like so many industries, right? There's a lot of me too. There's a lot of we're just going to jump on the bandwagon and do what our competitors do. And that, don't get me wrong, it makes sense, right? There's various established categories. You need hypothetically, you need a protein, you need an amino product, you need a pre-workout, you need a multivitamin, you need these things in your line, and you need to create multiple flavors of them and hopefully market them effectively, and people will buy yours because for whatever reason they prefer yours to the competition. But that's tough. That's tough, right? It's like, okay, so you're just hoping that somebody likes your basically similar pre-workout more than the next man's, or is aware that yours exists in comparison to your competition. So for us, it was like, okay, well, what can we do other than just sort of like values and aesthetics and the sort of things that you do on a day-to-day basis to try to stand apart, quality, customer service. Other than those things, what can we do to differentiate ourselves? And something like the tri-chamber, and the fact that it doesn't exist in the marketplace other than from us, and that the product when you hold it in your hand looks big and impressive and a little bit imposing, and stands apart on a shelf. It's like, okay, those are opportunities for us to be different than the competition, and in some ways greater than, and sort of do battle against the giants.
Nice. All right, so before we go into the next question I have for you, we have a question from my guy Kurt, the Kurt Locker, aka nice. Statty Daddy. That's how he fights crime. That's the name he fights crime under, Statty Daddy.
Okay.
He says, overrated or underrated third-party testing? And obviously he means for supplements. So yeah, overrated or underrated? What do you think?
I'd say it's somewhere in the middle. I think it really depends on sort of the relationship that you have with the supplement company who is creating your stuff. The basic bottom line for production in our industry, for the manufacturers in our industry, is the GMP, good manufacturing practices standards that are set forth by the FDA. So it's where every individual ingredient is tested for purity, for proper efficacy and labeling, and then that also happens to finished formulas. And you can't bring your products to the marketplace without living up to those standards if you're doing so, in an above board sort of way. So if you have a company that lives up to GMP standards and creates products that are marked with that GMP seal, then I think it can put a certain amount of faith in what that company does without third-party testing on top of it. Whereas, in other cases, if you're talking about some of the products, say, just for example, that either are might seem a little shady or below board, just like anything else you were looking to purchase in the marketplace, you should bring a little bit of caution, and it should be a little bit buyer beware. And then at the same time, right, if we're talking about like a lot of really mass-produced products that you might find on like a Walmart shelf from some of these popular brands, and what is actually contained in the end product that you're grabbing from Walmart or from a place like that, then yeah, maybe you might want that product also tested by some sort of third party, or like back in the day, some of those services, consumer reports kind of deals where they actually buy the products at random off of a shelf and then test them. I could see the value there. But if you trust in and have a good relationship or a good understanding of the reputation of the company that you're buying the products from, and that they're living up to GMP standards, then I think you should probably be safe without that extra third-party testing on top of it.
The thing that I think about when I think about testing isn't just the safety of the product, but it's also does it have enough of the thing? So since Jonathan, No Fake 24/7, he was in here. I don't know if he's still here, but I'm gonna go ahead and give him a shout out. So he had a video on his channel where he's talking about a supplement that was basically like it's supposed to help you burn fat while you're sleeping. All right. Well, first of all, your body Ashley already covered how you're already burning fat while you sleep anyway, but this is supposed to increase it.
Right.
And it's because it included the conjugated linoleic acid, CLA.
Sure.
So the thing is, and it cites the study about how it's supposed to help burn fat. Well, the amount that's all true, but then the amount that's in the actual product is so small that it's smaller than the amount that was used in the actual study. So there's no confirmation that you've got enough of this product that's supposed to do the thing in the supplement you're taking to justify
a lot of that
the cost. Does that make sense? Yeah. So
very much so.
Is that something that will become affected by third-party testing?
Well, right. Here's the thing, right? It's really more about I feel like the labeling approach that the specific company takes who you might be patronizing. So, like for example, we do fully transparent labeling where you know exactly how much of each ingredient is present in our products, and we do that because we want that sort of honest discourse with our consumers. Where
so you don't have like the proprietary blend.
No, we don't. We avoid proprietary blends altogether. And they're utilized often in our industry. And sometimes for reasons that might be somewhat questionable, right? I don't want to paint the industry with too broad a brush in terms of that sort of thing. But in general, proprietary blends have been sort of a sneaky way to get a desired ingredient on a label without putting much of it in there, right? And where you're sort of you're protected by the concept of a proprietary blend, where you can literally, the word is the industry term is pixie dust an ingredient into a product, put very little of it in there, but it still can appear on the label, and the end consumer doesn't know how much of that ingredient is actually in there. So we've avoided that altogether. You'll see it rather often, unfortunately, sometimes with we were talking about your robotic shaker before, right? With some of these what I call like sort of infomercial.
You keep bringing up the thing that caused me pain, Greg. I'm trying to get over it.
I'm sorry. Right, where some of like these more infomercial type products, right? Where you'll see like there's greens products out there that are very popular. There's test boosters out there that are very popular. I bring those up because those are categories that we're also in, and that we make products that I'm proud of in those categories. And those products have use entirely proprietary blends where you have no idea how much of each of these desired ingredients might be in there. So third-party testing would reveal how much of each of those individual ingredients might be in that end product. But it's almost like if you've already gotten to the point where you need that sort of disclosure, it's too late, because you've essentially purchased a product that's utilizing those tactics and not disclosing to you how much of those ingredients are in the product. And they're doing that for a reason, usually because there's not enough of those ingredients in that product. And like a perfect example that I utilize would be our test booster, King. Just because it's a very simple and straightforward product, right? It's only, I believe, a total of maybe 8 ingredients total, and it's still 6 capsules a day. And people are like, "Wow, 6 capsules is a lot. Wow, I really wish it was, a 1 a day sort of thing." And I'm like, "Look, we could create a 1 a day product like King, but the reason it's 6 capsules is because we want to deliver to you enough of the active ingredients that are going to make the product effective for you." And as such, it needs to be 6 capsules. If it could be 1 capsule, we'd make it 1 capsule.
I'm
And
just
some of the
picturing how
competition.
big that capsule would be. It would look like one of those
Yeah, that's
cookies,
it.
those
That's
giant
it.
cookies you
Yes.
get.
Yes.
It's-
Yeah, it would be like a mango-sized capsule.
I know, right?
But right, if you were going to deliver the desired doses, if you were just making a proprietary blend, right, where you put a pixie dusting of the ingredients that are on our label in that product, then you could do one capsule and say it has the same ingredients, and for all the end consumer knows, it does, right? But then you look back after using it for a couple months and wonder why it's not very effective for you, and the reason is because those ingredients that could make that product work well for you, there's just not enough of them in there.
And you also have we've got a few people who are joining the chat, so shout out to Addicts, Adjustable Exercise Clubs and Maces. That actually is something that you might be interested in, Greg.
Yeah.
They make the I don't know if you've done any like mace or club swinging, but you don't have a ton of space in your gym, but I think you've got enough space for that. It's like another good cardio option. And
Sure.
Don sells these maces and clubs, and I think hands down they're the best out there on the market.
Very cool.
You know? He
Very
did not
cool.
pay me for that. He's not paying me for any endorsements.
Well,
I'm just telling you that
it's
they
cool.
are outstanding.
It's cool, sort of non-traditional training, right? And it's like it's
Depends on
it's got
what your tradition is.
It's got a combat element too, right? Like
Yeah.
you're training to be like a barbarian.
That's right. Hey.
Wielding heavy sticks.
Hey, not only will you get in better shape, but now you're equipped to disable a jackrabbit if your protein supplies get low.
That's it, right? Of course. You never know when you might need it.
So Kurt says the battle is the minimum effective dose versus the bottom line of the company. And that,
Sure.
Again. And then there's also the thing. So what was so you guys don't sell this product, it's called Jacked. And everybody talks about original formula Jacked. It's
Sure.
like it's kind of like one of those holy grail things, like, man, if I could just original formula Jacked. There are people who are like, if you can say you found some, like I don't even know how good that stuff would still be for you anymore. But they're like, oh, I found some. I'm digging out of a time capsule, and people are like jealous because you've got the original formula Jacked. But then over time, they start you out with, the dosage that's going to give you that effect, get the buzz, and then they dial it back, scale back the amounts slowly so that the people who can say, oh, no, I remember I got it and it worked.
Yeah.
But the reality is that they've actually lowered the effective dosage of the ingredients that they put in there.
Right. And I mean, like for just a good example, like that's a product that gained so much traction and so much notoriety and infamy and such a loyal following, right? Because it has an amphetamine. The original one had like an amphetamine analog in it, right? That made you really feel the product. Air quotes, feel the product, right? Like really feel the product, right? And it almost made irrelevant any other ingredient that was in the product, and the efficacy of that product was not contingent upon anything other than that amphetamine analog, right? So, like theoretically, you could have had that product be just that one ingredient and some flavoring, and it might have been just as effective for you.
Spring water and amphetamines.
That's it. Yeah, man.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
And the truth of the matter is, right, that I'm not even like, I'm not taking any kind of moral high ground when I say that sort of thing either. Like you look back at Major League Baseball, right, and one day in the locker room, right, there used to be 2 pots of coffee. There was regular and decaf. Regular was real coffee plus amphetamines. Decaf was just regular coffee. Right.
Nice.
And the pre-work. So one of the things that, that legacy of that product was built upon was that one specific ingredient, right? 1,3-dimeth, right? Which was supposed to be a derivative of geranium, which is an herb that was naturally occurring. And people said that you could get this specific like amphetamine analog from this herb. Whether that's true or not, I'm not 100% sure. And there was a lot of like sort of legal fallout from it because, theoretically, some of those gray market ingredients can be dangerous if ingested too much. But it also really created a cult following for that product, like you're saying, where people still talk about it in these glowing terms. They talk about those glowing terms because they took it and they sure did feel it. And they've been sort of chasing that ever since. And it's a perfect example of a brand, of a name. A brand name and a specific product that they could, if there was legal fallout or any kind of concerns about utilizing that gray market ingredient, they could alter the formula, remove that dubious, potentially dangerous ingredient from the formula, reintroduce an alternate formula to the market under that same name, and sell a lot of units for a long time just on the strength of that original formula and that original buzz that original formula had. And for some people, that would be good enough for them to just stay with it as the product evolves and changes. And look at the
because you
different
think, oh, something must be wrong with me. I just don't notice that it's not working
right,
anymore.
right. It's so
I'll increase my dose, which makes me run out of it faster, so I buy more. Because
sure,
yeah,
of course, in the different iterations of that specific brand name formula, and you're sort of also always chasing that original buzz that you got from the first one. But it's enough to really establish that product, that brand name for a long time, and to have people continue to purchase it. And some of the OGs, some of the earliest adopters will compare it to that original formula. But so many other people that come to your brand never even experienced that, so they don't really have anything to compare it to. They're just comparing it to other products in the marketplace.
Exactly.
So it's a tactic and a strategy that's been employed many times in our industry for sure.
So shout out, we got some more people joining us. We got the British are back. All right. So man, Matt, I wish you had been here when Claire was on. Claire is from the UK as well, and we were talking about the climate of home workers and people who have a home gym. Matt is a phenomenal up and coming strongman competitor. He's also competes in powerlifting, and he's like one of our great supporters over there in England. Actually lives in Nottingham, as I recall. So that's
Very
my guy,
cool.
Matt.
Love the UK.
You went to Body Power, right?
Yeah, I went to Body
You've been
Power
there
a couple times.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. It's of the places that I've traveled domestically and abroad, the UK is one of my favorites, just in terms of the lifting culture, but then just in terms of the people and the general vibe. It's an amazing place.
I said that because this is how my mind works. It's not because I saw something with you at Body Power. It's because I saw you at Temple Gym.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, why is he there?
Yeah.
He lives in New Jersey. Why is he at Temple Gym?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he must be there for Body Power. So that's how
sir.
my brain works, all right? It's like you
at
the gym, then okay.
Very privileged to have had the opportunity to train a couple times at the original Temple Gym, which is an amazing place, legendary place.
Just imagine that. Yeah, that's actually one of my Blood and Guts is one of my favorite. So back in, as a home gym owner, you understand this. I would have that Blood and Guts on while I was training in the garage.
Of course.
Listen to that guy. Come on, Yates.
Yep.
We've got business.
Of course. Yep.
So
don't mind me moving around. I had a VHS copy of it close by. I don't know where it is at the moment, but I have one.
That just shows what a meathead you are. You're sitting at your dining room table, right? It's like
no, I'm in my office.
Okay, I was like, this dude's got a copy of Blood and Guts next to the dining room table, so he can educate the kids. Hey, listen to me. Today we're gonna talk about Dorian Yates.
Yeah,
forget what they teach you in school.
on the mantle in the living room is Blood and Guts VHS.
I'm like, oh yeah, he's at the dining room table. Definitely, that's where I would keep Blood and Guts.
Gives a certain amount of leeway, but that would probably be too far. That'd be one step too far, I think.
All right, let's see here. And so there's a subversive movement going on in the live chat to get Matt, again, he's from the UK. He's trying to order a red coat so he can live up to this reputation he claims I'm making for him because he's British.
Right.
And I'm always talking about how we whipped the British twice.
Sure.
Anyway,
sure.
but hey, you know what?
Yeah, but they're our allies now, though. They're our allies.
Right. We're
now.
friends.
And
we're friends. It's all in good fun.
They're among our most staunch allies. So
heck yeah. And actually, we're hoping to go to the UK this summer if possible. My wife and I.
Awesome.
I'll be able to go. That'll be me going back, but actually getting to spend time there instead of just kind of going through on my way to somewhere else.
Are the Olympics there this summer?
I don't know, but my anniversary, my 20-year wedding anniversary is July 1st, and so we said we want to go to. We've both wanted to go to Ireland because. Side note, We got married, and 15 days later, I worked up to deploy to Iraq. So we
Okay.
never had a honeymoon.
Sure.
And on my way to Iraq, I went through Ireland, and I sent her a postcard.
Yeah.
And I said, by the time you get this, I won't be here, but this is where I was. And
Sure.
so we both said, hey, we'd love to go to Ireland and make that
sure.
our, you know, a honeymoon. And so
Would probably be an incredible trip. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
But having said that, I want to touch on this and then go back to the tri chamber while we still have you for a few more minutes.
Sure.
So I get tons of ideas when I'm training, right? In fact, several of the segments for this show were born out of in that little window in between sets.
Yeah.
Where you
sure.
think of something.
Yeah.
How much of what you see in the G Code online store was birthed or at least incubated in your workout sessions in your basement?
Oh man, you know, a good amount of them. I'd say that there's you know, there's so much inspiration that comes while exercising, while training, while sort of pushing yourself physically, right? It's like an opportunity. It's like a window to a different part of yourself creatively. I think exerting yourself physically, I think, opens you up intellectually and creatively in a way. And I'd say a lot of the things, you know, in terms of fresh ideas for our brand over the years, or just in my life in general, occurred while training. So, you know, whether it's entirely pragmatic in the sense that like you're working out and you think, oh man, I really wish I had product X or Y because it would benefit me at this moment, right? That is a very like you know, cut and dry, black and white instance of like, oh, you're identifying a need for yourself personally. I'm sure there's other people who feel the same way. Let's work on creating this formula, this kind of product to address that. So that for sure. But then just, you know, I think moments of general inspiration too while training happen on a regular basis is one of the wonderful things about like I said, about physically exerting yourself, is that I think it opens you up creatively and intellectually, and maybe helps you tap into a different part of your mind, and that's where those tremendous ideas, those new ideas, novel ideas flourish. So for sure, I couldn't put a percentage on it, but I would absolutely say that a lot of what we do and several of the products that we create are born of the inspiration that occurred while working out, for sure.
I can tell you, so there's historical precedence for this because a lot of the scientists in the Enlightenment worked out. Like Benjamin Franklin went for walks. He actually trained with dumbbells. People who don't know that, and a lot of his, like whenever he had a problem, he couldn't figure it out, he would go work out. And I think part of it is it kind of frees your brain because it kind of like shuts down part of your brain. And so it's able to problem solve in the background, kind of like a computer working in the background to solve a problem. And I said specifically a home gym because when I'm in a public gym, a lot of times I'm distracted by what's around me. So I'm responding to the external stimuli. Whereas in my home gym, a lot of times it's just me there, you know? And so my brain doesn't have noise. It doesn't have external noise. So it's free to just move, and it goes in a lot of different directions.
Of course.
And so I think that's like, I have the dry erase board. I tell people my dry erase board isn't actually for me to write my workout on. I do it.
Ideas.
But it's for ideas, because if you don't write it down, it's gone. Guaranteed, it's gone. You need to write down immediately.
No, for sure. Right. So you're adding, so it's the physical exertion plus the solitude, right? The ability for you to sort of lower your guard a little bit, right? Because you're by yourself and you're physically focused on the training, but then it allows your mind a little bit of freedom, for sure.
Oh yeah, I can see that. It's like in solitude, you have to be comfortable with yourself. And comfortable with silence. But some of my best ideas come from that solitude. And then, of course, I have to refine it or whatever. But
I can see that for sure.
Tell me about, so this current tri-chamber, in the few minutes we have left with you, what's different about the current tri-chamber versus the original one you had? I meant to ask you that when we first talked about it, but what's different about this version versus the old one.
Right. What's different about it is a couple things. Is the formula. We reintroduced the tri-chamber using what is our strongest, most updated formula, our most powerful iteration of Vice to date, which is the Vice Triple X, which is just a sort of more of a hard hitting, heavy hitter formula than our original Vice. And that's not to say superior, but just a little bit different and stronger and made for people with a higher caffeine tolerance, etc. It's incorporating 3 brand new flavors of Vice Triple X. So that's one thing that's different. And then another thing that is new and improved about it, and this is very technical stuff. It's not sexy or wouldn't necessarily be a reason that anyone would be purchasing it. But since the container is completely different than everything else in the industry, there's various like logistical components of production that are different. And having an effective internal seal to keep the product fresh in transit prior to you getting it and opening it, or in storage prior to you getting it and opening it, was a point of emphasis in this generation. So what we had to do was sort of refine our ability to effectively add that internal seal on the product, just in terms of freshness. Like I said, those have to be applied manually and custom made in terms of their sizing. So just a logistical hurdle that we had to clear before we could move closer to perfecting the product. So that was the big deal. Could we make an effective internal seal? And then the other really cool point of differentiation about this in comparison to the prior is that it's got the Vice Triple X, which is just like I said, a little bit more of a hard hitting formula.
All right, so last 2 questions.
Yeah.
We already I'm going to put you on the spot. We already have the best gym in town discount code, so you can save at shop.gcodenutrition.com. I'll prove it here. I'll show it to you guys right here.
I very much appreciate that, brother. I very much appreciate that. Yeah.
But let's say I want somebody who's never heard of G code to get the full experience, right? So if somebody gets and obviously this is something we haven't talked about. So if somebody, let's say they order a tri-chamber, could they get, say, a couple of those single serving samples of Rise and Life or Juice? I know you guys had like some single serving packs. You say, hey, let's throw those in there if this is your first time or whatever. If you use this promo code, we're gonna throw these in here because we want you to get like the G code experience. So does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we if there are people utilizing your promo code, we can do what we can on the back end from a shipping and warehousing standpoint to add some samples. Like you said, we have samples at current. I know for sure that we have samples of the Rise, which is our amino recovery elixir. So we could add those to orders for sure, for people to have an opportunity to try one of our other products. But yeah, it's like we're over the years, we've done our best to try to create an expansive, inclusive line that, sort of provides both general health and wellness products with high performance products and ones that sort of ensure, like I said, maximum performance, but with somebody's big picture health in mind. And we think our products do that as effectively, if not more effectively, than most in the industry. And there's a variety of those on our website. But in terms of actually having an opportunity to try samples of some of those, if people are using your promo code, we can do we do our best to try to make sure they get some samples added as well.
Awesome. All right. So last thing, somebody watching this, as I mentioned, has never heard of G code. A lot of people in the chat never heard of G code.
Sure.
All right. So talk to them right now.
You can build the greatest brand to make the best products in the world, right? It's like a tree falls in the woods.
Somebody
if they don't know that brand exists, what's the big deal? You know what I mean? So it's like that's what I want you to tell them. The gap we have to bridge. That's the gap we have to bridge.
They've never heard of G code. Tell them why G code. Yeah. We'll close with this with you. Tell them why G code is worth checking out in Europe. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was kind of touching on it earlier, right? But I think if you put value in a brand that is sort of built from the ground up, right? A family brand with those sort of values inherent to it. A brand that sort of stands apart from what everyone else does. And if you place an emphasis on high performance and sort of its inextricable link to general health and wellness, right? I think if those are two important factors for you in terms of creating your supplement regimen, I'd say we're a great brand for you. Obviously, the Tri Chamber, it puts emphasis on the fact that we really care about flavoring. We try our best to flavor products in a way that not only will you not mind taking your supplements, you'll actually look forward to it, right? You're taking your pre-workout, having your protein shake, your greens, your aminos. The thought that not only don't you mind using those products, but you actually look forward to it, I think is a big deal. So that's always been one of our goals. And beyond that, like you said, I think our brand, our products are very much built in the trenches, right? They're created by lifters, by people who love this culture, for lifters and people who love this culture, right? So they're born of necessity. They're born of, just for example, my desire to create products that help me, get closer to my goals. And then the thought being that there are other like-minded kindred souls out there who would also benefit from similar products. So the thought being of training with longevity in mind and wanting to be able to do this 30 years from now, and the thought of always pursuing excellence on your own terms and being your best self today, and always working sort of towards creating the best version of yourself. If that's important to you, then I feel like we're the brand for you. One of the taglines, one of the mottos of the brand is, that our brand exists to empower real people in the real world to do extraordinary things. We are not a celebrity brand. Like I said, we're a family brand. And even when I say family brand, it sort of means that those athletes and ambassadors who are out there representing our brand and spreading the good word on our brand are true believers. We don't have any mercenaries representing our brand. The people who are out there speaking highly of us, God bless them, are people who actually use the products every day and believe in them. And that means the world to us. And we have relationships with those people, whether they be sponsored athletes or whether they be, just consumers who've been with us a long time. We have sort of priceless familial relationships with those people. And I feel like we're a relationship brand, and those people are the lifeblood of what we do, and they're tremendously valuable to us. So I think that human aspect of our brand is another point of differentiation. We're not just a company trying to sell you something slick. We're here sort of in the trenches with you, trying to do better each day to build a better brand and to empower you to build a better version of yourself. And that's very important to us.
Awesome, man. I could talk to you all day. I feel like I've proven that.
No, bro, I'm always here to talk shop with you, man. It's always a pleasure and an honor,
man. You guys need to go back. I have several conversations with Greg here, and then we've also talked offline a number of times, and he's just, I can tell you, like, the highest level of praise I can give you is Greg is a good dude. And that's 100%. I believe that.
Man, I know those aren't growing on trees, man. So I don't take that for granted.
They're not all over the place. So Greg is a good dude. So I appreciate you being here, my man. And
I appreciate you as well.
I look forward to seeing you. I still have not forgotten. Naomi and I will be up there. The obstacle is Naomi's work schedule, but we will be up there for Fat Boy Sunday to sample Tara's cooking.
It's got to be done. At some point, it's got to be done.
It's going to happen.
You got to give me some notice so we can bring our A game.
Oh, I believe in you. Okay. All right, my man. You guys have a good day. My best of the family.
Yep. Right. Same to you, my man. Thank you.
Later. All right. And that was my dude, Greg Santarsiero. Once again, you can get the Vice Tri Chamber or actually any G-Code product by going to shop.gcodenutrition.com. And if you want to support this channel, use promo code BestGymInTown at checkout. You'll save 10%. And that is going to be not only help out the channel, help us raise money for the different things we do, but it's also going to get you connected to some of what I consider to be the best one of the best supplements that, in the game. All right. Now, let's go into some of the other stuff. Let's jump back into the live chat because I know I had some comments there. I saw the comments. Matt says, all us British are known to still train with short and long bows. Hey, that's how you beat the Vikings. So, don't sneeze at it, all right? The Vikings whipped everybody till they got to you guys and your short and long bows. Kurt Locker says, I was attached to the 7th Rifles in the Irish Guard in Afghanistan. He said July 4th was a fun day. I can imagine. Don says, working out from Addicts Adjustable Exercise Clubs and Maces says, working out shuts off the front brain and finds things in the files. That's probably one of the best ways to say it. It's like it gets you to, I think sometimes we can be overly analytical because, we're too tied into that side of ourselves. And I think that there's a certain space that you can get into where you can let the creative side of you approach a problem from an oblique angle, and sometimes that's where your solutions are. Tattoo saying says, I can't afford to have parts of my brain turned off because it makes me forget how to breathe. All right, so you're a special case. We won't have that. We won't have that for you. And Carlos says he's got to get me one of those. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm drinking G Code stuff right now. So I've got pre-workout in this, and I've got BCAAs in this. Had to show the product placement with my logo, but in another cup. So that's basic, and that's my regular. Not just on Fridays, but that's first thing I do when I wake up is I drink some Vice pre-workout, and then I start my day, and then it kicks in, and then I kind of sip Rise intermittently throughout the day. Just number one, help with hydration, but also it stops me from drinking other stuff that's not good for me. You know what I mean? So it helps me make better choices in terms of what I ingest. All right, now we're going to move into our next segment. We've only got a few minutes before my next guest joins. And so we're going to go into this segment that I'm really, really excited about. This segment is called Home Gym Channels You've Never Heard of. And I started doing this because I think YouTube's algorithm does a horrible job of showing us who are into home gym content the stuff that we want to see. And so for me, that means, based upon the things I watch, I tend to get shown things I have zero interest in. Like, I don't care about lo-fi music, but I get shown lo-fi music. And I guess that's partially because, I have to look up music for this program. But the thing is that because YouTube doesn't do a good job of showing you the stuff that you want to see, a lot of times very successful channels that are in the topic area that you'd be interested in sometimes go under your radar, right? And so that's one of the things I said I was going to start doing. I'm going to tell you about successful home gym channels that you've never heard of that I think you should follow, and then I'll tell you why. So today's channel is MadFit, and MadFit has 9.05 million subscribers as we speak, okay? And this channel, I think it's got a number of things to recommend it, but you can see that it's got, as I said, it's got 9.06 million subscribers today. So they picked up some more since yesterday. It features real-time at-home workouts that you can follow along to. And I think it's a great option for beginners. So if you have a home gym and you are a beginner, let's say you just set up your home gym, or let's say you have your home gym and maybe your significant other wants to start getting into training at home with you, this channel is one of the good options for them. And I say especially women, because or anyone who enjoys dance-themed workouts. So just for example, she's got a somewhere along here, I don't know where it is exactly, but she's got a 17-minute Dua Lipa themed workout. But she's also got workouts divided into training objectives, which may appeal to guys. So there's the Coldplay cool down stretch routine is only 5 minutes long. And I know a lot of times as lifters, we want to get done with the workout and then we're out of the gym when you really should spend time on your cool down. So that's there. Then she's also got there's a 25-minute full body stretch. The doesn't have, it's right here. There's no talking in that video, but I also like in her video, she's got an on-screen timer. So you know how much longer the exercise is going to go, or you know how much longer you have in your rest period. So it's just a good channel to recommend to your significant other, especially if they're like my wife and they don't want you writing their training programs. Or if you, like I said, you know somebody who's just getting into training, or you're just getting into training, you don't have a program to follow, that this channel I think is a good option. So this is not sponsored. I'm not getting paid to tell you about it. I just think it's a good idea to expose you guys to stuff that YouTube is not going to show you, because I'm willing to go out on a limb and say most of you who are here watching this, even though you obviously enjoy home gym content because you're here, have probably never heard of MadFit. You're not one of the over 9 million subscribers. So that means that she's serving someone, but a large portion of the people who she serves are not necessarily the people who can make the most benefit out of her content, because she's probably got people who go to public gyms and who maybe they'll have the thing on the phone while they're using it or whatever. So I think it's a great home gym channel. It's called MadFit, youtube.com @MadFit. And I recommend that you subscribe to it today. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to move into our final segment because my final guest is here. But first, it is 9 o'clock, which means it is time to say good morning to the West Coast, because you guys just woke up. Don't worry about the fact that we've been up for hours getting stuff done, making sure the country runs and the economy is working. You're welcome. Welcome, West Coast. Good morning to you. You're getting out of bed. Hey, get active. Let's go. It's time to get active. And now we're going to invite my final guest of the day in, Marissa Roy. She's the founder of Permanent Change Coaching, and she's also the co-host of the Barbell Lifestyle podcast. So welcome, Marissa.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Thank you for joining me. I always want somebody, when they hear that music, I'm waiting for somebody to spin around like Ric Flair when he would come out to wrestle.
I was going to say start levitating or something.
Hey, can you do that?
No.
Is that something that's, okay. Don't promise stuff you can't deliver, Marissa. All right. You just got on the show.
Off to a strong start. I see.
All right. So anyway, thank you for joining me. We've been trying to get this thing together for a while. And okay, here goes the British again. So we got British people in the chat. And he says it's 1 p.m. here. It's time for food and coffee. No amphetamines, though. Well, outstanding. I will say, I don't know what your view is on amphetamines, Matt, but your boss would notice a significant uptick, let's say, in your production in terms of if you start doing amphetamines. The quality of your work will probably suffer, but you're going to do more of whatever you're doing. So there's that. Anyway, as we've got Marissa here, I want to make sure that we respect your time. So let's go ahead and jump into the questions that I have for you. So just to give people some background, if they're not familiar with you, you became an online fitness coach. My notes say 2016. Is that when you started your brand, Permanent Change Coaching?
That's correct. Yeah. I started online coaching. It was under a different name. So it was just under Marissa Roy Fitness, which is my Instagram handle. And so I didn't rebrand to Permanent Change Coaching for a couple of years, but yeah, 2016. So about 8 years ago now.
Nice. Okay. And so Marissa Roy, that's your kind of the brand, but that's your maiden name. So you are mad. Yeah. So Marissa Chong, if anybody's watching and they're like, you keep calling her the wrong name. No, I don't. I'm not.
I know. I'm trying
to my internet research.
Get used to the switch because it's been so long that I've had obviously my whole life Roy. So I'm just slowly trickling the new last name in.
Have you thought about rebranding to Marissa Chong, or me even going to Marissa Roy Chong as like the official rebrand, like for your Instagram and just everything else?
Yeah, I put it like on my Instagram, and now the brand is Permanent Change Coaching, so I don't even have to worry about it. So that's the best part, is it's not tied to my name. Doesn't matter what my name is.
Okay. So your website says that you and your assistant coaches have helped thousands of clients, and I see the testimonials on your site. So that's an impressive amount in less than 10 years. How do you guys decide how to place clients? Because you have coaches who have different fields of expertise. How do you say, hey, I'm going to put this guy. So David Huckleby just joined the chat. If David comes to you, he's got a background in strongman powerlifting, and he says, hey, I need help. How would you place him? Would it be based upon his goals, his restrictions, personality? What are some of the factors that you use?
Totally. Yeah. I think honestly, over time, what I've realized is that personality and just ability to connect is number one, because like you said, on my team, we have coaches with different like types of expertise and backgrounds, but we all collaborate with each other. So like all the information is in our little hub together that we can share. So the most important thing is that the client has an environment and a relationship with someone they feel comfortable sharing stuff with, because otherwise if they can't communicate, then like nothing's getting done ever, right? So that's probably number one, is like when I'm first talking to a prospective client, I am just really trying to feel out like their personality, their communication style, their background, and just looking for areas of common ground that my coaches may have with them, and then really being able to make that pairing from that. I am pretty strong on the good pairings rating. We've really only ever had to like have somebody switch coaches a couple times in the thousands that we've worked with. So it's I would say I pride myself in that being a good decision.
I said that you've got testimonials on your website, but the average amount of time your clients work with you is a little under 11 months. That's so great. People don't necessarily come to you and stay with you. I mean, obviously some people would say, hey, I just enjoy working with you. But you have people who come, learn, and then they go, they do whatever. So that's actually one reason why I was attracted to what you do. And I wanted to interview you, because I like coaches who don't make themselves into a crutch.
Yeah.
Don't make yourself a pair of crutches and I can't walk without you. Instead, I like it when coaches educate you and empower you to go out and, pursue your goals on your own, and maybe come back if you need something else or whatever your interests change. How do you find that it takes that 11 months though for people to see the sustainable change, so they're going to leave and they're not going to backslide into their old habits?
Absolutely. I love that question. And I think it's actually really interesting that you say that maybe 11 months is a short period of time, because for a lot of the people that we work with, that's a long time to them. They've only done 30-day, 60-day, 90-day challenges and quick fixes. And so they're coming to us and we're like, so this is going to be a while. I want to prepare you for that. We don't start with that sort of a commitment. We always start with 4 months. So it's a nice like chunk of time, but then they can extend from there. But yeah, on average, our data has shown that about 11 months is our average client lifetime journey. And I would say that ultimately it's really just the fact that the changes that people are making in their day-to-day life that are a lifestyle change come back to the way that we view ourselves. So like the identity that we have. So if someone comes to me and they say, I'm lazy and I'm complacent and I'm not somebody who works out, I'm not somebody who eats healthy, that is something that they're speaking over themselves, that they are now going to behave in that manner. And so shifting the way that somebody literally sees themselves in the mirror, shifting the way that somebody speaks about themselves, is something that they have been reinforcing with themselves for a lifetime. And so sometimes we work with people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s even, and it's been decades that they've been telling themselves that they're not somebody who works out. They're not somebody who eats healthy. So unworking that is a really, really in-depth process that doesn't take 30 days, So I think it's really just instilling, like you said, the education in somebody that allows them to really take those tools and knowledge and skills with them, because our mantra, our name of our company, permanent change, that's a big promise. And so in order for it to be permanent, there's an understanding that you're continuing to do the work on your own. If you want to continue to afford the luxury of having a coach, that's great. But our job is to equip you to be able to continue doing that work, continue unlearning those like identities that don't serve us and allow us to just carry that on into the future, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, because so when you were talking, I immediately thought of well, two things. But the first thing was, for years, I remember when I was actively personal training people, the belief was women couldn't do pull-ups. And when I joined the Marine Corps, they even had that's when they changed the test to allow, because they said we need to be able to have more, we want more female recruits. And so that's when they had the flexed arm hang.
Yeah.
Right, that became really popular. I mean, they had something else before that, but it's like the flexed arm hand became really, really popular. And then CrossFit came along. And I remember that when they saw women doing pull-ups, they said, oh, well, yeah, but that's going to get you hurt. The kipping pull-up. It's, oh, well, there's going to be like this massive amounts of, you'd assume they're going to be like women with their shoulders falling off. All lit all across the streets. There's gonna be just women,
just arms everywhere.
Yeah, that's gonna be your torso's in to the northeast and your arm is to the southwest. So it's like, but it took time. And now if you see a woman do a pull up, it doesn't even phase you, because prior to that, you would never see a woman do a pull up unless they were a gymnast, and most gymnasts like they stop, like I guess they're 14, 15 years old. That's when they retire, because you start to get, and it's, oh well, yeah, but once you get past a certain age, women just can't do it because they get too heavy. Well, now if you see a woman do pull-ups, it's like, oh, okay, whatever, it's Tuesday, because it took time for women to not only be able to do it, but to believe they could do it. Because if you don't believe you can do it, you're not even gonna try, right?
On a global sense, like it's like the 2-hour marathon, right? Breaking that, once one person mile. Did it, everyone can do it. Yeah.
So, oh, we can do this thing. Yeah. So that was the first thing I thought of. The second thing I thought of when you were talking about the length of time it takes to make changes. And I think that, I don't have any problem with 75 hard or any programs I've done 75 hard. But I just didn't make a big deal about it. But it's like, I don't have a problem with things like that.
Yeah.
But aside from cleanses and 30-day fixes, which I would assume include like diet teas and wraps, what would you say is your pet peeve as a coach?
Oh gosh.
This is a safe space. Go off.
Okay.
Keep it clean. Keep it going up. I have to tell you, wait a minute. Keep it clean.
I'll keep it clean. But I would say my pet peeve is honestly just like not an ignorance. What's the word that I'm looking for? Like an unwillingness to learn. Like when somebody is
willful ignorance. You don't know
willful
and you
ignorance.
Don't want to know. Okay.
Yeah, like somebody who like will actively come to me to talk and be like, "Hey, like let's talk about my health and fitness. I want guidance." But then they only want to hear what they want to hear, and they're not open to a differing opinion. That's really hard. And so a lot of times like that takes a lot of like digging and back and forth for me to even like start to poke holes in that concept that's in their mind. But that's really the hardest part. Like I can help, like I'm confident that I can help anybody that is willing to learn and wants new information. But when there's that willful ignorance, like that is my pet peeve. It's not a specific diet. It's not a specific program. I think it's like when you're dead set on being set in a certain way and it's preventing you from broadening your horizons and actually preventing you from moving forward. That's what bothers me, because I'm like, I want to help you, but you're not letting me.
Yeah, 100%. So with that being said, I told you I wanted to talk about the idea of being able to work out, because there's a workout from home.
Yeah.
But when you work from home as well. So you've got a home gym, and your YouTube seems specifically aimed at women who work from home. So how did you select that specific demographic to target?
Totally. Yeah, there's
like, whereas like women who work from home, not men and women who work from home, for example. That's what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It really did evolve over time. And I'll be totally honest with you too. There's a part of it that came from the guru side of it that said, if you want to grow your business, you got to pick a niche. And
Yeah.
I was like, cool, what's my niche? And so that's what like got the wheels turning towards it. But over time, it's actually become much, much more organic and natural and like something I actually feel really passionate about. So why women is because I feel like I just understand the brain of a woman better. I just want to be specific in somebody that I actually feel really, really confident that I can like just really relate and break down the struggles with, and the common humanity between us of we've struggled with our body image. We've struggled with restrictive dieting. We've struggled with just not liking what we see in the mirror and picking ourselves apart and all the things that come with that. And then the work from home was something that was kind of born out of like just a leg up that I had. So I started this business working online in 2016. So this is well before the pandemic, well before everything shut down and everybody started to work from home. And so I had 4 years under my belt of working from home in a home office setting before everyone else started doing it, or a majority of people at least. And then I started getting a lot of questions in 2020, a lot of questions. People were like, how do you do this? I am a mess. Like, I don't have a routine. I'm in my pajamas till 3 p.m. I'm eating from the pantry all day. Like, how do I do this? So I started dropping more and more tips. Like, here's how to like get your meals right. Here's how to avoid snacking in the pantry. Here's how to set work-life
Did you just say
boundaries from home.
snacking in the pantry? Like they're
Or-
inside the pantry eating at the time?
Oh, no. You know what I mean? Pulling food from the
That's how my
pantry.
mind works. I'm like, I'm picturing somebody in the pantry, like
just hiding. I mean, that could be a thing if you have a walk-in.
Okay. All right. But go ahead.
Yeah, so it was like I was dropping all these tips and people were finding them really, really valuable. And I was like, at first I was kind of confused, like, because I was kind of ignorant. I was like, this isn't hard. What do you mean? And it's because I had been doing it for 4 years. I had the time to develop the trial and error, whereas everyone else had just been thrown in. And so then when the little birdie was in my ear saying like, pick a niche, I was like, well, I'm really good at this, teaching this thing. And so I kind of just went with it for a little bit, but then it really did catch on. And then something that developed from that is one of the key, I would say, cornerstones of our community and our clientele is we have an amazing sense of community, and we have live office hour group coaching calls multiple times per week. And I would say that the work from home demographic really thrives in that because they can just flip on Zoom anytime. Like, they're not in an office. They don't need to look over their shoulder and wonder who's listening. They could just tune in. And so we have this ability to have a very connected community because of that, which I think enhances our client experience and their ability to be successful. So that's kind of how it was all born. And I honestly just really love it now and have leaned into it more because now I've got my whole home office, my whole home gym. And I'm like, let's just help these specific people that are really struggling with that balance from work from home.
So I asked you the thing about the men who work from home and who have home gyms. But the reason I asked that is because there are a fair number of people, aside from people on the West Coast who are like, they're getting up, they're taking the kids to school right now. But there are a fair number of people who are in the audience right now who work from home and they've got home gyms. Like my guy, David, he works from home. His home gym is maybe 400 feet away from your back door, David. Yeah. And so the thing that they all have to combat though is, there's nobody looking over their shoulder, but there's still the fear that the boss is going to think they're not working. If they call, they call you and then it's like, okay, hey, I called and I was trying to get you, I need you to send me the whatever, right? Well, you couldn't answer the call because you were at the bottom of a squat when he called, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm, there are a lot of things you can do at the bottom of the squat, but answer the phone is not one of them, in my opinion. Okay. I don't care if you got hands free. All right. So there's that fear. Hey, I'm going to be working out. And as soon as I start, my boss is going to interrupt me. It's almost like, I never thought of this. It's almost like parents who start working out and then the kids interrupt them and they're not able to stop, do the thing for the kid and then go back. You know, that was a skill I had to develop. We got 4 boys and a little girl. I had to develop that skill over time to be able to say, okay, I can help you. All right, now back to what I was doing. You know what I mean? So what are some strategies you teach your clients who work from home and who have home gyms in terms of being able to not only strike a balance so they're not, letting the boss and their employer down, but also being able to go from work mode to workout mode and back to work mode and back, you know, seamlessly.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's like really there's two directions that I could take it. And the first one is really intertwined with what you said about parenting and having like little ones interrupt you, is that it is a skill. And that's a specific word that you used. And I 100% agree with it. It's a skill that you develop, and it's adaptability to that dynamic situation. Because a lot of what I think, and I will say women, but I will also say just people who are really goal and fitness oriented struggle with is a lot of black and white thinking of like, it has to look this way to be successful. Like it has to be the hour straight, or it has to be the full workout, or it has to be uninterrupted in order to be quote unquote successful. And we've assigned that meaning to it in our mind at some point for some reason, but it's not necessarily true, right? Like as long as the work gets done. And so it's really being able to unwork that thought process and then have the adaptability to say, okay, I'm locked in. All right, I just got pulled out. Let me go do that, put my full attention there, and then come back and be present. And just, I think also just remembering that working out, being able to work from home, being able to have that flexibility, just having gratitude for it as well. So like if it's only half a workout that day and maybe you got pulled away and you couldn't come back, just count that as positive efforts towards your goals, because that half of a workout is still half of a workout towards your goal. You can always finish the other half another time, versus thinking of it as like sunk cost and, oh, I failed and it's not good enough, right? Because that narrative doesn't help us. So I would say that would be the first direction, is having that adaptability and building that skill to be able to look at it that way and to be able to roll with the punches. And then the second direction I would go with it is, and this really, I think what David's saying in the chat is absolutely on the right track here. And it's going to depend on your work environment. But I would argue that in any work environment, you should be able to advocate for your boundaries. And if you are getting your work done, then you should be able to take that step away or have that space and not be micromanaged or have to be on call all the time. Unless, caveat, you're on a literal on-call job, that is the job description that you signed up for. Maybe that's different. But I would say a lot of remote work positions are very kind of self-paced. You set your own schedule, or as long as you get your work done, like you can have that flexibility. But when we work from home, we struggle to set the boundary with ourselves more often than other people breaching our boundaries. And so the reason why people might be overstepping them, the reason why people might be calling us all the time, is because we've made ourselves available and we don't respect our boundaries ourselves. And so then we feel really resentful, or we feel like we are constantly getting walked all over. But the challenge that I would propose, and this is really, really difficult to swallow sometimes, is that you might be creating some of that. And there might be some aspect of you having to put your foot down and advocate for yourself in a respectful way to whoever you're working with, that this is my time that's blocked off. I'm getting my work done. I'm hitting my performance metrics, and I am here and I'm present when I'm here, but I do need this time to be at my best. So yeah, and it's sad. Like I was going to say, like, maybe that's controversial, but I think that that's really good practice for just general work-life boundaries, and especially when you work from home.
So there's so much right there. First of all, that's like a series of mic drop moments. So as a content creator, I was thinking, oh, that's a good YouTube short. I just need to clip that part, and it's happening. That's going to happen, definitely.
I love it.
You're going to see it appear on Threads, all kinds of places. But I love that segment right there. I want to go back to, I want to touch on what David said. So he says communication to work is important because mental health time is more important than anything. So here's the problem. You may work from home because you might be a remote worker for a company that's overseas. So I had a friend. Well, I have a friend. He still exists. He didn't vanish. All right. There's no snap. He didn't vanish. Thanos did not get rid of him.
Into the Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah. But he works for a company that's in Austria. And so culturally, their view of what work looks like is different than what our view here in the States is of what work looks like. If you work for a Japanese company, I remember I was working construction, and this guy was telling me that when he worked at it, we were taking a break, right? And none of us wanted to take the break, but they're like, hey, you got to take a break because it's in the union contract. You got to take a break. We're like, all right, whatever. And I wanted to just get it done and be done with it. I said, can we just get it done? And then now instead of having to sit 10 minutes, we can sit 30 minutes because we got everything done. They're like, nope, got to stop. I said, all right. So while we were sitting there talking, he said it's like a sort of a mindset. He said he worked on a job site that was run by a Japanese company, and it was mandatory that you stretch before starting work. So they had all of the workers imagine this construction site, and they made them stretch because they had this thing. So, well, if you stretch, you're less likely to get injured on the job. So we don't have to pay as much workman's comp. So you will stretch whether you like it or not. You're going to get here early, you're going to stretch, or else you're not going to work here. And so if you go, so to touch on that mentality of another country, you're like, hey, I need to take my time for whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody in India or Japan may not want to hear, hey, I got to take my 30-minute break in order to get this done. Because they're not even necessarily on board with you having a lunch break. You know what I mean? They're like, look, eat at your desk and keep going. You know what I mean? Yeah. So how do you help clients get past that hurdle? Like, hey, look, my boss lives in, I don't know, Jakarta, and he's not trying to hear that I need to take, I'm becoming overweight and I need to, for my health or even my mental health.
Yeah.
So how do you combat that?
Yeah, that's really tough because, the reality is a lot of large companies, corporations, and I've heard this time and time again from our clients is like, they don't really care about my personal well-being. I'm just kind of a number on the board, right? And so it is really tough. But I think the thing that at least the clients that we've worked with that I've been able to speak with about this that has been successful for them is they will put a block on their calendar and they will just label it busy, and they won't tell their superiors or anyone like what the busy is. It's just busy. And ultimately it might be getting their kids from daycare, might be helping, cook dinner. It might be getting their workout in, but just having that be like a non-negotiable, like, no, this is busy. This is off. You cannot schedule a meeting over this on top of this for me. If it happens or if they do override it, like I'll try to make it work. But generally that is a blocked off time, and just being very firm in like, I think in workplaces like that, especially when you don't have close relationships with the people that you're working with, honestly trying to get away with as much as little explanation as possible, because a lot of times it's like, oh, I can't because I need to get my workout in for my physical and my mental health. A lot of times, like people they just don't want to hear it. It's just, hey, I can't make that time. Can we move that meeting to another time?
Yeah.
Leave it at that. And a lot of times it's received better that way versus, and it's more firm and it just sets the boundary harder. So that's what I've seen work well for people like that. Obviously there's gonna be one-off circumstances where there are just maybe more unhealthy work cultures where it's not gonna work out that way. But yeah, so that's definitely one strategy.
And I love that because it's, I think we have, some of it is because of social media, but we overshare.
Yeah.
It's like, they don't need to know all that. It's none of their business. And you feel like you're being dishonest. No, I just said I can't make that time. I just can't, so this may be too much information, but if you were on the toilet, right, at a time when the phone rings, whatever, right? If you're sitting on the toilet, it's a critical moment. You're not answering the phone, right? You're not going to answer the phone because what if it's an important client? Would you answer the phone for that important client if you're on the toilet?
Absolutely not. That's it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's a personal moment. Yeah.
There you go. And so you kind of got to look at it like, just that's important for me, from a health standpoint, if nothing else. So is this. And I think it has to do with the value that you actually put on your health and fitness. Because if you don't value it as important, then nobody else is going to value it as important either. Like I've had, like, one of the strategies I've said this a few times today with guests is I've had people who say, hey, they tell their clients, just tell them it's therapy. I have an hour. If you just got to tell them something, I'm taking an hour for therapy. All right. And you'll find that your boss is responsible because they don't want you to have a nervous breakdown at work because they're thinking, you think, oh, well, they can replace me. But your boss is thinking, what if something happens and I get sued? So they're not, I don't want any trouble with workman's comp. I don't want that.
Well, can I add something to that too?
I can't. David says he loves what you're saying. And he said, you're absolutely saying what others will not. And that's 100%. And then Don with Addicts Adjustable Exercise Clubs and Mason says home workers are the perfect demographic for home training. And David points out that with HIPAA here in the US, they actually can't ask you for more detail. So that is another important point. So
Can
go
I
ahead.
add
What were you
something?
gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say what you were saying about.
That's why you're here.
Adding the like how you add or assign value to your health and your fitness, I think is so critical. And so a reframe for somebody who maybe struggles with this. Maybe you're like, I really struggle to put my workout, my meal prep time, my personal time on my calendar and respect that and follow through with it the same way I would a work appointment. Think about it this way instead, rather than like, oh yeah, I got to make my fitness a priority because I want to insert goal, lose weight, build muscle, get stronger. Like a lot of times and I think these are totally justifiable goals, but a lot of times people will feel like, oh, that's superficial or that's surface level. That's, that's just, that's a vanity goal versus like something that's integral to your health. Think of it this way. If you were to struggle with making your health and fitness a priority, if you were to list out your priorities, like top 5, what would they be? And for a lot of people, that's probably like family, work, and, what else? Maybe fitness is on there, but maybe faith or religion or something like that, or giving back to your community might be a really high priority. And other things might actually take precedent over your health and fitness on that priorities list. And that's okay. Totally okay. Maybe fitness falls as 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. But what you can ask yourself is, how does prioritizing your fitness as if it were number 1 bleed into priorities number 1, 2, and 3? So how does prioritizing your health make you a better father, mother, spouse? How does prioritizing your health and fitness make you a better employee? How does it make you better at giving back to your community, giving back to your church, or being more dedicated in any other area of your life? And so that has helped a lot of our clients because they do struggle with being like, it just doesn't feel like it's a priority, and it doesn't need to be number 1. I think that's a big misconception. You will have other things that come first. However, it's not that you put the fitness on the back burner. It's that fitness actually elevates those other priorities.
So there's a couple of things I want to, there's a comment that I want to, it actually was in response to something we said earlier.
Yeah.
But I think it applies. It's funny how it comes back around.
Yeah.
Because my view, so you said like, how does it make you better at these other things, right? And so I think like, I tell my wife all the time, she works from home. I tell her, I say, if you have a problem, something you can't solve, you can't figure out, whatever. I said, take 5 minutes, go in there. She's like in love with we got a water rower and she's in love with that thing right now. So I'm like, take 5 minutes, go get on the water rower, have it already set up and just go get on it and row for 5 minutes and get off. And I promise you, when you go back to your desk, you probably have the solution.
Yeah.
And the reason that, and what that relates to is that Don said, working out shuts off your front brain and finds things in the files that you may not find otherwise. I thought that was a really great way for him to say that because it makes sense. And so to me, taking time for, let's call it so what if we didn't call it working out? What if we called it a productivity break?
Yeah.
Because that's going to make me, sometimes, we all know it. Sometimes you have to get away from the problem, right?
Always.
What if you just did that before it becomes, I can't figure it out. No, I just take a productivity break and I go. Even if you weren't frustrated, your mind's going to work differently when you come back from that 5 minutes. And literally it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Out of 60 minutes, you gave yourself 5. You still got 55 minutes to give your company, right? And it makes you better. So that 5 minutes made the other 55 more impactful. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And the label makes such a difference. The label of working out, taking care of myself, whatever we have assigned less meaning to because we've just said, oh, all these other things are more important. Well, our productivity is important to us. So label it accordingly. I love that because as humans, like when we have labels, there's so much packed into them. My favorite example is meal prep. When you think meal prep, what do you think? Most people think 20 containers, all perfectly portioned out, a whole Sunday afternoon, a bunch of arduous labor, right? When really it could be so simple. It could be like microwave veggies, like minute rice and pre-cooked rotisserie chicken just in the fridge ready to go. But we always think it's the former and it prevents us from doing it at all because we labeled it meal prep. And I'm like, I can't meal prep. But what if we just relabeled it, or what if we just change the meaning of that? So that part is really, really huge. I love that you kind of like named it something different.
Yeah, I mean, because when you relabel something, so names. So I was an English major, and I respect language because I understand that names have power, and what you even to the extent that what you allow other people to call you affects how you behave and act.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you call yourself affects how you behave and act. So what you label, here's one that I think everybody, because we have got a number of people who are athletes. They train, not just for general fitness, but for some sort of strength sport, right? And they're in the chat right now. So for those of you guys in the chat, remember when Elite FTS started making a big deal about saying it's not I don't work out, I train.
Mm-hmm.
Because working out was like, okay, I'm working out and it's kind of aimless. Whereas train means I'm getting better at something with the purpose of having a higher level of performance in that activity, right? Yeah. So that right there is an example that's easy to resonate with of how relabeling something makes it mean more to you. Because if it's a workout, I can miss that. But if I'm going to I have a competition coming up and I miss my training session, that's going to build on that. That's going to show up on the platform, and I spent my money. I don't want to lose my money for this thing, right? And I want to perform well. So David says that you are a human highlight reel of dropping knowledge. So I recommend you put that on a t-shirt.
Thank you, David.
Perhaps a name tag if you've got something rectangular that might be able to fit that on there. But last two questions from me. As a channel that promotes home gym culture, I'm obviously a fan of people having some sort of home workout option, even if you also choose to exercise in a public setting, right?
Yeah.
So you set up your home office with a walking pad so you can get your steps while you're working out, while you're working. So how would you advise a client who works from home to set up a home workout space to make it easy to use during their workday or even after work? What are some best practices you can give us?
Yeah. So I love what you kind of mentioned there. It's not just the home gym, but it's engineering your whole environment to work for you versus against you. Because now it's like what you would be putting into funds for, say, a gym membership. Maybe that's $50 a month or something like that. Think about that over the course of a couple of years and what that adds up to. Invest that in your home gym setup or your work from home setup. Make it ergonomic. So I would say, not even just the home gym, but the work from home setup. If you are going to be in a room of your house for 8 hours a day, get a good chair that is ergonomic, that promotes good posture, get a sit to stand desk, get the walking pad, because you're there 40 hours a week for the majority of your entire week. You deserve to have that be an environment that is not going to give you crippling back pain and neck pain and hip pain. So invest in those things. It's an investment in yourself. And from there, I would say that the home gym, just how to make it easy, is probably the first thing that comes to mind is catering to your ability level and your experience level. So for example, if I were to go on YouTube and search like best garage gym investments, it's going to give me like the Rogue rack and the cable pulleys and the adjustable dumbbells and the adjustable benches and barbells, all these things. And if I were somebody who is just trying to get started and get in shape, I might be really overwhelmed. I might build this whole home gym setup for $3-4 grand and then be like, what do I do with this? And then it just sits there. And I've talked with many, many people where this is the case. They say, I have the garage gym. I haven't touched it. I'm like, cool. Okay, let's start with something you feel comfortable with. And so my best advice is you don't need to go all in on building this crazy setup. I'm more of the school of thought of just get like 1 or 2 pieces of equipment that you are comfortable starting to use, and then build consistency and efficacy in doing that. And then when you've shown yourself like, hey, I'm really using this set of, say, adjustable dumbbells that I've invested in, maybe it's time to expand the tool belt because I'm kind of getting bored or limited in just this one tool that I have. And so I would say the like adjustable dumbbells that go up to like whatever, 50 pounds each or something is probably one of the best first investments you can make for a home workout situation, because you can do almost everything with them. And then at a certain point, you might outgrow it or need a little bit more support, like an adjustable bench, or you might want to go towards the barbell after that. But I would just say take it one step at a time and really focus on just engineering your environment as a whole. That goes between your office, your kitchen, and your home gym setup. And that way you actually feel like it's something you can use and it's inviting rather than just an intimidating thing sitting out in the garage. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So I started my home gym over 20 years ago, but it didn't have what I have now. It was 2 70-pound dumbbells in a wooden box. And that was it, and over time I obviously added things, but I think that too many people, to your point, buy stuff because it's trendy or because Google recommended it to you. But it's like, look, the company that sells that thing paid a significant amount of money, whether it's in an ad or to someone who's good at SEO, in order to make that thing be recommended to you based upon your search history. So I prefer to let my training dictate my purchases for the gym. Now, there's also a certain element that I love of the Jeet Kune Do of it, in that it's not what somebody else in this, who has this setup and who is writing this program, says to do. It's instead what I can make work.
Yeah.
What's available to me, what I can make work. So I'm using no way as way. So I'm not limited by the fact that this thing called for, okay, so David says sled drags in the walk-in pantry. Okay, so maybe I don't have a walk-in pantry. So that means I need to do a sled drag around the kitchen, right? Maybe I don't have a sled. All right, so I grab the dog. I'm just kidding. So, but I'm saying is like, you say, okay, well, how? So that's what I mean is like some of that creativity that happens in a home gym environment, I think is also valuable too. If nothing else, remember we're talking about it spurring getting your brain working, right? So maybe sometimes some of those problems are valuable because of the fact that they make you think, they make you problem solve a little bit, right? And so I think it's like, I prefer to let my current training, my current and most recent training dictate my purchases. Because I was mentioning at the beginning of the show that I've never used a leg press in any of my training. I've done leg presses, but I do it with a barbell. And I don't do it a lot. So why would I go spend money on something that's going to fill up my take up valuable real estate in my home gym when I know I'm not going to use it often? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can hang laundry on a lot of different things. So let's, as we close up here, because I know a lot of people watching this are becoming fans of what you do based on the comments I see. So I want to motivate them to go follow you in other places and consume your content in other places. So tell me about the Barbell Lifestyle Podcast. How is it different from what you produce in your Permanent Change Coaching podcast, and also what you have on your YouTube channel, which is actually how I discovered you, because I do this thing where I deep dive looking for channels that YouTube doesn't recommend me. I actually go searching actively for channel for home gym based channels, and that's how I discovered you. So
Very
tell me
cool.
about the 3 different homes for your content and the differences between what you put in each place as we close.
Totally. Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'll start with the Barbell Lifestyle podcast because, well, it's not technically the oldest, but I will say it's got probably the most in it. So I started that podcast in December of 2020. Yeah, December of 2020 with one of my best friends who is also an online health and fitness coach and has her own company similar to mine. She has a focus in pre and postnatal clientele. So a little bit different, but we have a good dynamic and we bounce back and forth off each other. So we have over 100 and I think 60, we just recorded episode 169 yesterday. So we have a lot of episodes there. We've deep dove into every topic under the sun with health, fitness, nutrition, and just approaching it from the lens that I've kind of explained here of how I like to look at it and what we truly think is evidence-based and most sustainable for most people. And we've had a lot of really cool guests on there too in the evidence-based fitness community and space. And then the PCC podcast is actually relatively new. I think we only have 30 something episodes, but that I started to have a podcast for my company, my team, and to highlight more of what we do specifically and speaking to our specific audience, our work from home ladies, our work from home people, our people who have struggled with that yo-yo dieting cycle and really just wanting to learn a sustainable way of living their life that also helps them move towards their body composition, strength, and lifestyle goals. So those are the 2 podcasts, and I think they are both on most readily available podcast platforms, both definitely available on Apple and Spotify. And then the YouTube, it's funny. I started YouTube in 2016, 2017. And if you go back, all of it's there. Baby Marissa, 8 years ago. It's really adorable and like kind of cringy, but it's all there. And I was really, really active on YouTube when I started all of this. It was YouTube and Instagram were kind of the pair that helped me grow my following from the get-go. And then I took a huge hiatus from 2017 to like basically this last year with YouTube, which is where you just see a big gap and like a lot of podcast episodes in between. And I recently started revisiting YouTube because I wanted to capitalize more on like long form content. And I always have a lot to say. And I feel like podcasts and YouTube is the best place to do that versus Instagram, which honestly is like my main platform. Instagram is, but it's short. So I have to like cut myself short there. So YouTube.
I don't like Instagram because it's not as searchable too.
Yeah. It's
like
tough.
I can Google and the result may pop up from Instagram, but if I'm on Instagram and I'm trying to look for your past content, a lot of times it's very difficult to, not yours just specifically, but I mean, just in general, sometimes it's difficult. Whereas on YouTube, it makes it, obviously Google's a search engine, they own YouTube, but they make it very easy to go back and research, even topically. You know, if you want to know what hey, I want to see some reviews from Garage Gym Life. All right, well, there's a reviews playlist. It makes it easy for you to categorize things according to what the person's looking for. So that's just my thing.
Agreed. Totally agree. So it's those are the 2 that I use to kind of build everything up from the get-go. But right now, YouTube, what I am utilizing it for is a little bit of documenting my own personal health and fitness journey, because that's kind of where it all started. And I think it's just true to my brand and true to me. And I want to continue doing that and sharing the ups and the downs and the relatable side of it. Right now, I'm actually training for my first CrossFit competition. So that's
nice.
fun. That's in a couple weeks. But yeah, and then just continuing to put together like short to long form, I'd say moderate to long form information, webinars, that sort of thing through YouTube as well. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Oh, definitely. So that is amazing. I really appreciate you being on here. You guys make sure that you go ahead and you follow her on all the things. So we've got, let's see, got a bunch of, so visit permanentchangecoaching.com. I've got it going across the bottom. So if you are just listening, not watching, just come check out the replay. But I've also got the links to all this stuff in the description for this video. You guys want to make sure you check that out. Then you want to follow at Marissa Roy Fitness on Instagram And as she just said, that's one of her main platforms. So you guys will be able to catch up on all her stuff there. And then if you go to permanentchangecoaching.com, you'll see links to all of it. When you scroll to the bottom, it'll show like links to all the social media things as well. And then of course, subscribe to her on YouTube. I really want to have you back on. I know you're super, super busy, but I hope this was painless enough that we can get you to come back on and hang out with us a little bit more in the future. All right.
Absolutely. This is so fun. This is really early for a Friday podcast if you've been doing this for 4 hours now, but
it's in the name.
Really
it's
cool.
in that name. Oh, yeah. Hey, I tell people, I was actually, I sent a text message out to somebody at 4 a.m. Because I knew they were awake. And I said, in 2 hours, we unleash hell. Let's go. All right. Because I'm up. And that's so for me, it's like if you're passionate about something, nobody has to make you go do it. Which relates back to what we were saying about your value you put on fitness. If you're passionate about something, nobody has to make you go do it. And sometimes you're not passionate about fitness because you haven't seen the value in your life yet. But once you see what it can do for you, now that's what the iron bug is. It bites. Nobody's got to make you go do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, when's the last time you had to make somebody eat a cookie? Well, it's because they know what they're going to get from that cookie. And so I think that's a huge thing. It's a good place to end right here. Thank you so much for joining us. And I invite you to come back. We're going to do this again soon. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And that was Marissa Roy Chung. She is a coach. She's got a phenomenal track record. It's helped thousands of people both people who work from home and people who don't work from home in terms of meeting their fitness goals and getting permanent change. Not just, hey, I did this 30-day challenge and then 60 days later, I'm back to what I was before. So make sure that you guys are checking her out on all the things. We've got the link to do that in the description for this video. Let me go ahead and tell you guys what's coming up next week, because we got some really cool stuff going on. So next week, we've got, let's see, on the menu, we've got John Stevenson from Row Along Workouts is going to be joining us. He is the host of Row Along Workouts YouTube channel. He is also, he's got a website called Row Along Workouts. And John is I discovered him because of, I'm getting more into rowing, and I saw that his stuff is very helpful. He's got like a thing where you just watch him rowing. So if you're rowing and you're bored, rowing's not fun, then John will coach you through it. He's also got ways to help you improve yourself as a rower. So there's some value there. And so he's going to come on. He's going to talk about indoor rowing technique, plus what it's like to live stream and have to talk for an hour while rowing on a rowing machine. Plus, we're going to be I'm very excited about this. We're going to be broadcasting live from Relentless Nashville next Saturday, April 6th. So there's a link in the description for the video. Please click that link and you'll be able to find out how to donate to support HopeKids, which is an awesome charity that is supported by Relentless. And then, of course, we've also got Tim Stewart from Gym Crafters going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of different things related to building your optimal home gym. So once again, I am John Greaves III. I'm the founder of Garage Gym Life. Thank you guys once again for being here. I can't have this show without you. Go ahead. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that for me. Help me hit my goal of 50,000 followers. We are so close to 30,000 followers right now. Like literally, we're less than 500 away. And I need you guys to help me get there. You guys, I will see you next week. Peace.